My favorite folks from Game of Thrones. Yeah, you're one of my favorite. Talking to Arya. Arya Stark. The Funko Pop style that we do sometimes here. There we go. Now you can see me a little bit better. Hey, guys. My name is Jay. I'm the publisher. I'm also the Commodore at auburnsports.com, and I am stoked to have you guys with me today as we begin watching and discussing the Auburn versus Georgia basketball game, which will be starting at some point soon on ESPNU because the Iowa State Houston game is going way, way, way too long. Come on, man. I already got you turned on earlier. Oh, my gosh. Hey. Got to get that Auburn logo lit up, man. That is no good at all. So what up, y'all? It is great to be here on another relatively nice day here in central Alabama. Or maybe it'd be lower. I guess Birmingham's central, isn't it? It's about, I don't know, 55, something like that. We had a very cool push there on Wednesday and Thursday, which I know many of you, my brothers and sisters who live north of me, whether you're in Madison the Goat or Huntsville or Nashville or wherever. Now, CDF, on the other hand, he probably doesn't know about cold weather anymore. Kanuman's jumping in with us today. He says, let's drain. What's the good word, War? Damn, Eagle. The good word is F Georgia. I would really like to see Georgia get their ass beat today. Georgia in road games where they're playing legitimate teams, Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas A&M, they get throttled, absolutely throttled. So I think their average margin is about 21 points. So my thought is Auburn's as good as or better than all of those teams. Maybe it'll be like that in Neville Arena. But, you know, in this rivalry, sometimes things get heated. Sometimes punches are thrown. That's my recollection anyway. CDF comes in from points west of me. Says, going to see some whales. War damn. I don't know exactly what that means. Wait a minute. They told me the Auburn game was going to be on. And I got Montverde Academy. Am I on the wrong network here? You guys tell me where I need to be. I'm confused. Ay. Yeah, I'm getting the high school basketball here, and I'll just stay on this channel because I think that's where it's supposed to be. But anyway, because of that game ahead of Auburn being too long, we're going to have to switch. This is ESPN News. My bad. So the whole time I was on ESPN U. These are the things that happen when you get a little bit older, guys. I also got a super chat coming through from my man Hayden, who we feel like he's grown up right here before our eyes all these years. Let's drain the dogs away. War Name Eagle JGT, my man right there. I'll give you an applause. Hayden, we appreciate you and love you, brother. Always pulling for you. Okay, yes. On ESPN News, I am now seeing highlights from Auburn's win in Athens earlier this year. A game that got very close at the end and gave me the creeps, honestly. Daniel D's with us as well. Says, let's be at these puppies. I know normally you say let the puppies breathe, but maybe in this case, we don't asphyxiate them. We just give them stern looks and tell them to go away after they take a 25-point loss. That would be the nice way to do it. Thank you, Daniel D., for your diplomatic view of this. We've also got Steve with us. C-Red is calling for a big Auburn W today. Yabo is with us again. We love having him. Mr. M is with us tonight. Or today, I should say. It's light outside, Jay. What are you doing? Small victories. Word, ESPN News. Thank you guys for keeping me straight. GW is there, says JGT, the Herinator. My man. Getting ready for this game. Chances to make tournament for Georgia is 23%, 45% if they make it, if they win this game. So literally will double their chances of getting in the tournament. That tells you kind of what it's like to play Auburn these days. You know, it's kind of a one-stop. It's kind of like in '99 if you pulled Britney Spears. You know, that was a summarily stating your ability to pull right there. All it took. One chick. This is the Georgia scouting report. As you can see, there's some numbers on there, and the red is bad. They turn the ball over fairly often on offense. They don't rebound well at all defensively, which means Auburn should have some opportunities to get some stickbacks, which you know Auburn loves to feast upon. Free throw percentage is just free throw defense is not good for Georgia. I'm just kidding. We just wrote a story yesterday or the day before about SEMO is going to start these games, and Chad is really at peace with it. And guess what? Chad's going to start. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, there it is. Casa DP says Georgia nearly doubles its odds to make the tournament if they beat us. Hashtag blue blood bounce. I say that 10 times. Fireds and backwards. Some things that were going on. There goes BP trying to cheer up the crowd. Fire up the crowd. I know Mississippi State was getting all they wanted earlier today in a game. And we watched something else. Oh, we watched the Tennessee-Texas A&M game, which Tennessee actually won a very close game the whole way through. Probably the best game in the league today, or the most meaningful game in the standings. So Tennessee gets another W, this time at Texas A&M. I think the Aggies have lost 2 in a row now, so that could potentially shake up some things. Maybe I think more. Oh, my goodness. Dylan just got stuffed twice, guys. And I think they were legit stuffs. Wow, that was amazing. I can't believe Dylan got stuff like that. One of them was Azanul, and one of them was somebody else. Daniel DJ says, could we beat Georgia in football this year? So, Daniel, that's first of all a great question, and I am ready for a Georgia win as much as you guys are for sure. Believe me. That was a nice 3-point shot by Georgia. I need to see this team, I think, and I'm talking football here. I know we're in the middle of a basketball game, but this Auburn team has so many new pieces, including like the quarterback, and I think there's going to be some other guys, specifically Xavier at left tackle and some other spots. I think we got to see what we got first before we start thinking that that's a possibility. It's always a possibility. And I think if they get there, if they don't have any injuries and Jackson Arnold is the guy we thought he was, and et cetera, yeah, I think they've got a shot. I mean, they still got some questions at quarterback of their own now that their quarterback's playing at Miami and getting his car stolen. So here we are, a minute and a half later, and we're still scoreless in this bad boy. Georgia is having a hard time getting the ball into the basket. So you got your usual starting 4 plus Chad, who's, kind of a starter anyway. But, SEMO has been starting lately for this phantom injury, allegedly bang-up that Chad has that I see no evidence of and never hear anybody talk about. I guess he could have gotten, in trouble. It could have been a punitive measure that BP just didn't want to discuss, that was between him and Chad or whatever. But again, I never heard anybody say anything about Chad being hurt. I never saw any evidence of Chad being hurt. He wasn't wearing a brace. He wasn't getting unusual treatment. He didn't have ice on his shoulder, a la Cape Gross 1998. None of that. Miles Kelly doing a little shimmy shake around Blue Cane. Drives to the hole and finishes. Remember, Blue Cane had himself a game against Auburn last time. He was a factor. There is no doubt about that. Super chat coming through from Feel Like a Stranger, who's with us all the time. All the time.
Super chat.
He says, word up. Much love, Drainers, Swoogans, and Tates. Let's get these puppies. It's Tahad time. That's the thing. I feel like a stranger is a patient Auburn fan. He loves watching Tahad slice and dice his way through these other teams that can't deal with him. And to do so, he must wait for this first shift to end. Because Tahad always comes off the bench because he plays behind Denver, officially anyway. Sweet little backdoor creep. A play that Auburn's used a bunch, but not lately. They scored a bunch of buckets through that kind of action in January. What a great... Okay, so on that drive right there, Chad got beat, and then Denver, playing with his head up, stepped over to provide backside support, and it just kind of freaked out the guy who was dribbling. And he lost control of the dribble based on the fact that Dylan was coming to swat his shit. I like that. Hey, that's a turnover. I'll take it. Georgia starting 0 of 4 from the floor today, which is not great. I don't think of them as a good shooting team anyway. That was a pretty aggressive move by Janai right there, and he puts it in. Guys, that's about as quick as I've seen him lately. Let's see. My man Cass DP says, when Chris Beard goes to Indiana, I think Mike White goes home to mama and makes it 3 different SEC coaching stops in pretty quick succession, too. I wonder if Ole Miss would love him. I mean, they loved him as a player, obviously, but would they love him now as a coach? Probably. The thing about that, though, is if Chris Beard leaves Ole Miss to go to Indiana, which makes a lot of sense to me, would they give Wes a look? Wes has head coaching experience. He's been there. He's done a lot of recruiting for Ole Miss. That's another splash, baby. That's going to be a 9-0 lead for the Auburn Tigers. Miles Kelly with a splash city from the counter. As Carnell Williams would say, the counter. I'm just trying a little roll right over. A ball handler shot right over the screen. And Janai just kind of lost that out of bounds, more or less because he wasn't paying attention or because he was setting up his next pass. All right, we've got a shift change coming in here because Chaney's in. Tahad is in. Feel Like a Stranger is absolutely fired up. Mike White kind of looks like Charlie 5, doesn't he? I think he does. Blue Cane hits a splash, which we don't cheer for on our show. But it was a nice shot. And gets Georgia off the schneid, as the kids say. Spicy Pieces, UGA is not having fun. I'd like to see them have even less fun. I think if Auburn gets up 35, I think that would be enough. All right, we got our first media timeout right there. I got to get some stats up here, some hot, fresh stats. Presented by Krispy Kreme. You guys know about Krispy Kreme. That's where you go for your hot, fresh donuts and all of your other confectionery needs and wants. Is this eugenics? It's got to be with Doug Flutie and The Big Hurt. The Big Hurt. Presented by. Just kidding. All right, let me hide the Georgia scouting report there. Instead we go to the box score, showing the Auburn Tigers are ahead 9-3. Blue Canes snapping Georgia's over shooting streak there. They're currently 1 of 7, not great. And I'm not doing a great job of getting these stats centered, and I apologize for that, guys. I'm going to get better. I endeavor to do better. I didn't say in Denver. 1 of 7 shooting for Georgia. Auburn is +1 rebounding. I know Casa DP will be fired up to see that. 1 assist, 1 turnover for Georgia. 2 assists and 0 turnovers for Auburn, which is what I like to see. PPP for the Auburn Tigers is 1.5. That is definitely ahead of schedule. Come back. 4 of 7 shooting for Auburn. 1 of 2 from 3. No free throws attempted yet. Personal fouls are dead even. And in general, I like the way this is going. Stu Pup jumps in with a super chat, my man. Need a route so I can go back to car shopping. Now that sounds fun, Stu Pup. I wish I could go car shopping with you. I love car shopping. That's one of my favorite things to do. It looks like he's in the market for a RAV4 hybrid, which I've got to say, I am an EV enthusiast, but if I was not going to get an EV, that is a bulletproof vehicle right there, and I am not shitting you about that. I think a RAV4, if properly taken care of, and especially the hybrid versions, because Toyota is ahead of just about everybody with hybrid engines and motors, I think you could get 10, 12, 15 years out of that bitch. That's the truth, man. You might be able to give that to your kids for a first car, you know. Really nice choice. And I hope you find a really good deal on that, bro. I also would be considering the RAV4 Elite, if you're interested in that, where you've got the plug-in. You get a full battery that goes about 50 miles, and then you can have the hybrid engine too. I shouldn't say hybrid engine. You'd have the ICE. Like it'd be the same ICE. Still be able to get like 30, 32 miles per gallon on the ICE, so you're going to be cruising. CJ says he will always advocate for a Toyota hybrid. I would take it a step further, and I'd pretty much advocate for a Toyota most of the time. Stu Pup says Alan Thomas Toyota may be the leader in the clubhouse at JG. That's what I like to hear right there. We like to give that an applause. I'm kind of new to the Alan Turner thing, although I had a chance to talk to him on the phone, and I knew that guy was serious about getting stuff done. He wants cars sold, and he wants to treat people right too. So I was pretty impressed with having spoke to him. Hopefully, I get to meet him face to face instead of just on the phone. Wizard D is with us again. We're glad to have him. Says War Eagle, everyone. We love having Wizard D with us. GW says if I would have bought $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2010. I would have bought everyone in the chat a Jeep Trackhawk. I like that. That's very nice. TM Taco says Tacoma driver here. I dare you to find a better truck than a Tacoma. I love them. Maybe a Tundra if you need the extra, tonnage or whatever. But for me, a Tacoma is just a really good looking car. Oh, Cheney. Drop. If Cheney's going to start draining turnarounds, guys, from 10 feet or 12 feet, it's over. Like Vince Carter style. God, I love to see it. Cheney's like, of all the Auburn players I've ever covered, and it's just going back to 1998, and I've covered some real studs. I don't know if I pull for an Auburn player more than I do Cheney Johnson. He is just so lovable, respectable, and he's just what's good about college basketball and athletes in general. He's just a good dude. Janai again trying that turnaround. We ought to start tracking his turnaround shots as fallaways. I guarantee his shooting percent. Azanul getting a little out of control there. I get his shooting percentages. We'd like to joke about is 80% when he's within about 6 feet of the rim. But he does these turnaround fadeaways where he goes from 6 feet to like 9 feet. And I feel like the shooting percentage is in like the 30 range with that. I know he's doing this to try to either diversify his game or to take some pressure off that ankle. Oh, he's going to take a three. They're going to let him have it too. I don't blame him. Yeah, Cassidy P talks about Azanul coulda, shoulda been a Tiger. Auburn fighting very hard to get him at the time. And his brother is at Georgia. And, I don't know. It's kind of a family thing for them. Tim the Tool Man is here with us today. Again, we love having him around. He says, Ward Amigo Drainers. Well, that was a nice... Boy, Azanul's a player, man. I know Cassidy P's talking about that right now, but... Let's see, Small Time. Actually, I tried to give you a shout-out, Small Time, on the bunker, and I wasn't sure what your handle was on the bunker, so I just want you to know I did shout you out. It said, I've had a Tacoma for 15 years, never had one mechanical issue. We had a Sequoia. Well, Courtney technically had the Sequoia for 17 years. 17 years she drove it. She got 265,000 miles out of it. And the only problem we ever had with it that wasn't driver-related was a broken spark plug. Literally broke. They screwed it out, put a new one in, and that was it. It's the only problem we ever had. Toyotas are tanks. I feel like a stranger who's been waiting for Tahad to get in there, like that hustle from the aforementioned Tahad Pettiford. Azanul steps up and hits one of his free throws to get this down to 11-4. There, yeah, I tried to give you a shout out, brother. Just wasn't sure what your handle was, or if you had one, because it's not under that name. Auburn really enthusiastic about getting that ball to the center. Was that a three? No, it's a two. Long two for Denver there. They're very interested in attacking that zone look that they're giving them with a center at the free throw line, and they feel confident with both centers being able to pass their way. Oh, that was a nice block right there for the Auburn Tigers. And Chad just randomly throws the ball away. Tahad gets it back in play. Hit this three. Ah. Yeah, that's out of bounds on Auburn. That's a nice block right there. Cassidy P says, Denvy says, bring on that zone, punks. Yes, sir. Auburn in history, in the history that I'm thinking of with Mike White, both when he was at Florida and also with Georgia, sometimes get a little bit of stutter when they're attacking the zone that he likes to show Auburn. But today so far, and we've only seen probably 8 possessions or something like that, but Auburn has passed the ball with good tempo and good they're confident with their passing against this zone. And when that happens, it's bad news for Georgia. That's for damn sure. That's a nice spin right there by number 10. Went ahead and shot it up with his left hand. It's a nice technical move there. RJ Godfrey is his name. Nice play, RJ. I am not opposed to giving opposing players compliments on their play. I bet Miles Kelly's played Georgia a hell of a bunch of times in his life, hadn't he? Having been at Georgia Tech before that. GW says, I'm still driving my 1977 Toyota Corolla, only car I own, and it's paid for. Monthly full coverage insurance cost is $1.72. I don't know if you're telling me the truth, but that's an amazing story either way. I love it. Toyota Corolla, 1977. I drove a 77 model car in 1987 and 88. It was a while ago. Wizard D, I'm not sure if that was a moving screen or if that was a 3-second call on that last Auburn turnover. I don't know. All right, this Georgia's definitely not in a zone right now. They could be in some kind of a. Looks like they're willing to take some absorption on the wings. Like they're giving them space on the wings and kind of hanging in tight. So it's more of a man-to-man with zone principles, the way Joe Champy would run it. Maybe. I don't know the specifics about Georgia's philosophy, and that's a nice dunk in transition for Georgia right there. Auburn just got a little flat-footed on that last possession, which is good in a way because I think they were really paying attention to their spacing and what they were trying to do to attack the zone. That's a good thing. But they got a little shifted down toward the bucket, and they couldn't get back in transition. They did a terrific job of that against Arkansas, of always paying attention to their spacing on the attacking end to make sure they had numbers or coverage to get back. Little heat check there from Denver, and the answer is he's not quite as hot as he thought he was. Tim says his 85 Cutlass insurance is $20 a month for full coverage. They have no idea it has a 26 or a 2006 Silverado engine in it, though, to be fair. An 85 Cutlass, dude. I like those. Those are handsome cars. No kidding. Real Deal says he's got a 2025 Kia Carnival hybrid. I've not heard of that car. Maybe you got that spell checked on that one. I don't know. Been a great ride so far. That's good to hear. I love to hear it. CJ says the 2-3 zone is giving us issues. I mean, sort of. I feel like Auburn's passing has been terrific. The tempo has been really good. But the shooting has been, like that last shot from Denver was a little spazzy. And then you had the weird turnover, which was either a 3-second call or the moving screen. I'm not sure which. So it got a little bogged down here late in the half. Or, late in this last segment, I should say. Let me go ahead and get some hot, fresh stats. Presented by the Tipping Point, Montgomery's favorite bar and grill here in beautiful Hampstead, Alabama. A place that I have been to many times, a place that CJ knows a little something about. I think my man Raven has been there a time or two, although not with me. All right, here's the box, although I truncated it a little bit there at the bottom. My apologies. 1.0 points per possession for Auburn, 0.615 for the Tiger or for the Bulldogs. So that's great. Auburn's defensively feeling pretty good about it. 3 of 13 from the floor for Georgia. They're +2 on the rebounding tip, 2 assists, 2 turnovers. They're probably okay with that considering the way Auburn tends to roll. Auburn has 3 assists and 1 turnover, which I'm good with. 6 of 14 shooting for the Auburn Tigers, 1 of 5 from 3. Most of those threes have been tasty. I would argue that the last one from Denver wasn't that tasty. We have switched now back to ESPN. What are these guys playing? Is this like Golden Tee World Titles or something? I didn't even know they did that. Golden Tee National Title. I like it. Cass DP says PSA, we're back on ESPN right now. Does this guy know how to party or what? He loves the community. CJ says he went last night. Yeah, I couldn't make it over there. We went to dinner in Prattville last night, and by the time we got back, it was pretty obvious they were closed or closing, so we just kind of took it to the house. Yeah. Let's see. N says, Semo and Dillon on the floor. Let me think about this. Semo and Dillon on the floor. Yeah, at the same time, kills the offense. Teams don't guard them because they aren't a threat on offense. That is damn true. So it's 3 on 5. Yeah, Semo and Dillon definitely limits your shooting, although it depends on who else you're leaving. if you're going to leave Chad in there. I mean, some of these guys can definitely be one of the 3 designated scorers and still light them up, you know. Spicy Piz says, I'm just here for the danger zone. We will do the danger zone when conditions merit. I wish I could pull it right now. I wish it was 30-0. And I'm waiting for the game where we can pull that in the first half. That would be amazing. CJ would like to see Cassidy P and presumably Mrs. Cassidy P in the Orange Beach area come late April when we have our bunker event. I also would like to see that. However, Cassidy P is bound mostly to the greater Atlanta area due to his wonderful family having some young children in it as part of it. It sometimes makes it difficult to go that far. Don Properdicken coming to us from Southern Holland. This is Ward Amigal JG. What a chill day.
Super chat.
Don had an amazing performance. Look at this. All this tipping and tapping for Georgia right there. Get another second chance opportunity. They put it in to lower it to 13-10. Now would be a good time for Auburn to start thriving a little bit on the attacking end. Don had an amazing performance in the Bourbon Blend the other night on Thursday night with the show that I do with my wife. Had loads and loads of fun with some of his reactions to it's a long story, but we were talking about rotisserie camel. No, that's not a euphemism. And Don had a lot of thoughts on that and other things he could grill or otherwise eat. It was amazing. Thank you for being hilarious, Don Properdicken. Austin says, can't watch the Auburn football or basketball game without the brain drain. That's what we love to hear. We're glad to have you here. Appreciate that. Auburn gets a stop on the defensive end. Still looking for a little more rhythm on the attacking end. Georgia's not in a zone, though. They're in a very trappy man situation. Auburn on the back-to-back possessions had great shots. Within 5 feet, Chad missed one, a little short runner, I guess you'd call that. And there, Janai right there missed an even shorter runner. Both of them shooting with their favored left hand, and neither one of them getting the ball into the basket. Chris M. says, I pulled a hamstring last time I tried the old rotisserie camel. My man. Yeah, we had a lot of chat about rotisserie camel the other night. Some people talked about their fondness for camel toes, which was not part of the camel that I thought people would be eating a lot of, but apparently it is a delicacy in certain areas. Denver, no, I take that's turtle. Saw the headband. I thought it was Denver. It's actually turtle. El Tortuga with a shot and stick back. We haven't seen him play lately, but they're great to have him in there. I'm curious as to whose minutes he's taking. Looks like they got him and Janai playing together. Blue Cane, like a slinky into a little spot there. Oh, Janai says. I like the thumbs down stuff. I know it's Denver doing a lot of that, but Janai does it too. Spicy Pieces Turtle is taking SEMO minutes. That is perfectly fine, I think, with everybody here. Chip, who was also a huge part of the Bourbon Blend the other night, says the blend chat was off the rails spectacularly. I thought it was too. We were having a hell of a time, which is the way it goes a lot of times on the Bourbon Blend. We just have fun talking about stuff. It's kind of more like a COVID show vibe, honestly. And a lot of people think that Jay's the crazy person in our, not crazy, but the zany person in the Tate family, and then you guys get a chance to see that Courtney's just as zany and dirty as I am. I don't know exactly what happened to Blue Cane on that. He was trying to slink between two defenders that were parallel, and he basically got face ripped on that, like legally. A little confused about that, but I'm glad he didn't score. Kanuman says the blend chat was really incredible. So much fun and for so few chatters. We had literally at least 24. I mean, that's like 50,000 in a regular stream. We got a lot of very wise chatters, funny chatters. You included, of course, Knuman. Blaze Newell's a bad man, but he's having a hard time finishing today. Oh, boy. They're going to probably finish that one. They're not. Chad he picks up the foul. Looks like Turtle's laughing. Turtle went to the deck to try to get that ball, and he lost control of it as he fell down. Maybe that's what he was laughing about. Oh, I think maybe it was just the way he kind of pulled his hands back. He was about to get dunked over because he was on the ground. All right, they're going to leave him in here. Let's see if they make a switch after this first free throw. Oh, Knuman says, just saying the quality per chat was next level. Hosts absolutely nailed it. It was so much fun. I got you, bro. Amazing, Knuman. Thank you for being part of it. I know a lot of these folks were part of that too. It's a good group. And we got a great group here on the Brain Drain too. We'll try to stay a little more on topic here, though. You know how it goes. Boy, that's some ugly free throws there, man. Jeez. Ravin, hoping to see some better rebounding from the Auburn Tigers as this game progresses. Right now, it's 16-13 in favor of Georgia on the rebounding tip. Vincent almost said we have to grab these balls, but I stopped myself. We would not have made fun of that at all, I'm sure. Desperado's with us. Good to see the tortoise out here. Has Chaney been okay? Yeah, Chaney's played. He had a really nice shot earlier, like a little turnaround from the elbow. So, yeah, he's playing. There's Chaney right there. Finish that. He didn't even come close, but he got fouled. All right, they're at the 8-minute mark. That means we've got another media timeout to come. There it is, the Charles Barkley statue. And you know why you know that? Because there's a sign behind it that says Charles Barkley statue. I know the girl whose idea was to put that up many years ago, and I said, why did you have to put statue on it? We can all figure that part out. She said she thought there were some people that maybe wouldn't know that was Chuck Barkley. Some people might not know. Maybe look at that and think it was Godfrey or Mengelt. Maybe even Rex Frederick. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. There could be confusion. Time for Hot Fresh Stats, presented by Beppo. 15-10. Auburn had a quick start to the game. They were up, I think it was 9-0 to open, and then it's kind of slowed down a little bit, although they were facing the zone early too. T-Park with a super chat. My man coming in from the greater Atlanta area, and who's just a general badass, but he may not be in the Atlanta area. He was on the West Coast earlier in the week. This is late to the party, but we in here. Wardham JGT. We give you an applause for that. Glad to have you here, bro. Desperado says, but the word statue, that was part of it too. Yeah, I was like, I just don't. I think Desperado, maybe we would have been good with just saying Charles Barkley, Auburn, whatever, 83 or 82 to 84 or whatever, just that's all you need to say. 34, Charles Barkley, 82 to 84, leads Alabama or something. I don't know. Anyway, we got the hot, fresh stats, and Cass DP has his concerns because he looks first at rebounds, and he says Georgia's +3. Why is that? 7 offensive rebounds for the Georgia Bulldogs, which is just too damn many. I don't think Auburn gave up that many in the Arkansas game for the whole game. Second chance opportunities, Georgia's +4, 6-2. Most of the numbers are either close or low overall. Auburn's point per possession is dropping considerably. It was at 1.5 earlier, now we're at 0.882 in the midst of a shooting slump, as it were. 7 of 20 from the floor for the Auburn Tigers for 35%. Georgia shooting 4 of 20, which is 20%. I'm guessing Mike White's probably not happy with that. But he does like the 7 offensive rebounds, and he thinks his team can hang if they keep doing that. 3 assists, 1 turnover for the Auburn Tigers, which I like a lot. I would just like to see a little bit better shooting, and I feel like the shot quality is a little below where it normally is for Auburn right now. I feel like a stranger says he's watching this game on JP Sports with the 3 Daves. I don't even know who the 3 Daves are, but I only know Dave Baker because from my time at Kentucky. Cooper Flagg from the great state of Maine, where I'm proud to say my dad did not like him, even though my dad lives in Maine. He said, he went to Duke. I'm like, I know. See, my dad knows. And he's a Louisville guy. Even he knows how shady Duke is. Nick was asking earlier, and he's already gotten his answer, but yeah, it's on ESPN. It has switched over. They're still doing the Golden Tee regionals on the other one. I swear to God they are. Daniel D says, this is probably the best Georgia has played on the road. That's why they're 0-6 on the road in SEC play. I know that. In the 4 games they played against good teams, they've gotten absolutely throttled. So I would have to agree that relative to opponent, this is definitely, I would think, the best they played. But this game's not over also. And Auburn, you know how they are. They start getting rolling, and all of a sudden it's a 10 or 12 or 15-point surge, and that's a ball game right there, you know. There's 2 missed free throws in a row back-to-back for the Auburn Tigers. Not great. Boy, Chaney really fighting underneath there with their backup center. It's one thing BP talked about in his press conference yesterday is that he's really impressed with Georgia's front court depth. Wow, that was a very aggressive. I think that's the right call. And number 6 is going to bitch about it. He's going to dissent. Will they tee him up? Will they tee him up? They will not. So number 6 had a really tough one on Denver there. I think he's actually okay with the set. It's the follow through is the problem right there. Small Victory says Duke hasn't seen a ranked team in months. Give me a break. Is that true? I think Louisville is really the only team in that conference that's worth a shit other than Duke. I think. I don't watch any ACC basketball. I'm kind of philosophically opposed to it. And we just got a splash city from the Auburn Tigers. North Carolina has not played Louisville yet. Not sure who hit it, but I know it went in. Let's see. CJG says Georgia led Tennessee 26-25 in Knoxville. So there is some precedent, I suppose. I take it back. I said earlier Duke did not play Louisville. They did in December 8th. Wow, that was early in the year, too. And they won that game by 11. But, yeah, the rest of the ACC is hard times, folks. I guess their toughest game is going to be today where they take on Illinois. It says it's a neutral site game. It's in Madison Square Garden for some reason. Illinois is pretty good, but Illinois also has been hit with the flu bug, and they got a bunch of dudes out, or like either out or like just not feeling well. So I don't know. Dr. Brad Underwood said this is the worst he's ever seen in his coaching career. Chad Bacon Lasagna with a missed 3. Janai with a missed stick back. Looks like he got pulled down. Spicy P, great observation. He says a lot of alley-oops against us lately. I don't know if I'd say a lot, but it's certainly taken a big step forward, right? The percentage was like 0 for a while. Nobody even tried, and then it's been more common lately. You're right about that. I'm not sure why that is. My guess is that Auburn's been a little more aggressive with the way they've been framing side screens, and it takes pressure away from the bucket, and people feel a little more emboldened to try that, even though you've got Janai, Chaney, Dylan kind of lurking. Josh says, hey, do you think it's stupid to have Ja'Kai or keep Ja'Kai on the team but not play him? No, I do not think it's stupid. If he was being disrespectful to the head coach and the head coach sent him off the court, that's some shit that you shouldn't be doing. Period. Now, maybe you're taking Ja'Kai's side in this matter, and you think, they like BP made it up or something. I mean, I don't know. That's possible. I don't know what was said or what was done specifically, and it's not something he wants to talk to me about, which is fine. It's a good point. Kanuman noting about the relative increase in alley-oops against Auburn, that Janai, with that ankle, somewhat limited mobility and explosiveness, maybe that's part of it. The teams are more willing to kind of take him on. I'm not sure that I would want to do that a lot because he's pretty industrious and finds a way. I mean, if you think Auburn's not playing well, which, I think Auburn's playing okay right now, to be up 7, not bad. Oh, I didn't realize Dylan got part of that. Nice job. All right, so this would be a nice possession to just get it down to like 8 seconds, have a quality shot, hit the bucket, and get up, 10 or 9. That'd be nice. Wow, I don't know how that ball didn't go down. Janai with a little push shot there from the free throw line. I thought it was going. All right, 20-13. Georgia's going to get called for. Oh, is it number 6 again? He needs to get on the bench and just chill for a little bit. He needs to put on those meta goggles and just think about something else for about 5 minutes. Just reset himself mentally. Boy, that's the second time he's done that. It's the exact same thing he got called for before. I'm a little confused about why he thinks that's legal. Just come on, bro. Can't shove people. That's not part of the John Wooden screen paradigm there. Yeah, Spicy P says it looks like everyone's committed to playing bully ball against Auburn. Cross-court pass, not quite where it needed to be for Tahad. Yeah, I think that's true. It really starts with Florida, right? Florida, I think, was the first team that really got super, super aggressive with the way they were framing Auburn screens. And it seems like people have been trying to do that. Some teams can do that and some teams can't. I would not have thought Georgia would have been a team that would have been really successful doing that. And I'm still a little dubious. I mean, I know we're looking at a game here that's, we hadn't just start. We're 15 minutes in and Auburn's only up 7. But they are causing some disruptions, certainly. Let's see. Josh says, I'm saying, why keep him on the team if you're through with him? So my answer to that would be, what is the benefit to throwing him off the team right now? First of all, you can't add anybody back to take his spot. 2, it makes him look bad, right? If you kick him off the team, other teams that he could go to next year are going to be like, oh, he's a problem or whatever. Although they may come to that conclusion without that. I personally see no downside to just leave him on the bench. I think that BP communicates with him about what's going on and what the expectations are for him. He practices with the team, and I'm not supposed to talk about what goes on in practice, but I mean, he's there and he's doing his job. I mean, I think he's a source of frustration for a lot of folks, because a lot of Auburn people, because we've seen what he can do. We know he's a great athlete. We know he's got some actual tools. He's a great dunker. He's an aggressive driver. He has some handle considering his size. He just looks like a guy that, with a little bit of development and care could be a real difference maker. But, Janai. But until he gets his emotions under control, I think he's always going to be a problem. Liability. And remember, I mean, CBM also is an emotional player that's gotten himself into trouble with antics. But if you notice, the antics with CBM are toward opponents or just kind of in general. He has like a joie de vivre, right? That's a little different. Kai is like at people. Like when he throws a fit, he's mad at somebody. Sometimes it's the head coach and sometimes it's a teammate, but it's not just random flair, it's anger. Spicy Pieces, I love Miles Kelly rebounds. Who wouldn't? You love it when he gets that part of his game going because he usually gets very aggressive about dribbling that ball up court. and getting things going. Chip believes that Ja'Kai will benefit eventually from staying on the team. I think it only helps him. I think he needs stability, honestly. He moved around a lot in high school, and I think it would be very beneficial for him to stay here as long as possible, but I do not think he'll be here next year. No one's told me that. I just believe that to be the case. I think he'll be frustrated with things that have occurred, and maybe just want to go and get a fresh start somewhere else. All right, time for some fresh stats, which I will pull up here momentarily. Let's get these old stats out, in with the new. Pretty slow-moving game, honestly, from a scoring perspective. That's for sure. They're 5 of 23 from the floor, which is Auburn's pretty happy about that. 9 of 27 from the floor for the Auburn Tigers. Obviously, well off the pace that they normally have. 3 of 10 from 3, not too bad. 2 of 4 from the line, including a double miss from Chaney. That was not great. Rebounding still -3 for the Auburn Tigers, +3 for Georgia, which I know is going to be a source of frustration for Cassidy P. 3 assists and 5 turnovers for Georgia. They're probably not real worried about that. It's hard to have assists when you can't put the ball in the basket. Auburn has 5 assists and 2 turnovers, which is fine. Auburn having the same kind of problems where they're not getting the ball into the net as often as you would like to see. Also, rare situation where Georgia has more fouls called against them than Auburn, so that's good. 7-6. Points per possession, Auburn is just teetered up a little bit, back up to .95. They would like to be in the 1.25 to 1.3 range or higher. Defensively, they are absolutely thrilled with how things are going, so that's what we're looking at there. Scott M. is in the house as Ward M. Eagle JG. Ward M. Eagle to you, Scott. Glad to have you here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon of basketball between the Auburn Tigers and the Georgia Bulldogs. Mike says Janai's 80% trend has dropped significantly lately. You are not joking about that. I'm not sure he's even 60% right now. I feel like he's still getting the shots that we like to see him hit or we saw him hit early in the year. He just doesn't hit them now. And sometimes he'll turn where he used to get around the horn and kind of drive and try to finish with his left hand. He'll now take a step back and try to hit a fall-away. And it seems like the fall-aways just haven't been going down. And it's not something I see in practice, so I can't really tell you, like, oh, he's hitting these in practice, but he's not hitting them in the games. They're not usually in a situation where he would be taking those shots in practice because it's usually like a drill or something, Individually, Janai still, like as usual, putting up the numbers, 9 points and 5 boards right now, 1 block in 15 minutes. So, I mean, he's definitely affecting the game in a positive way. Which is kind of weird because sometimes, I think those of us, and that would include almost everybody in this chat, we watch every minute of Auburn basketball that's played, and we remember what Janai was like a month ago, where the eye test would always suggest he's the best player on the floor. Now, sometimes you don't really see that or feel that. Then you look at the box score and say, wow, he really is having a huge effect. I'm not sure. Chip says Janai's rate of finishing is crap. His decline in efficiency and the offense RB struggles do not bode well for postseason. We're still in the middle of February, brother, technically. Well, we're almost in the last half of it, last quarter of it, I should say. But you know what I mean. I feel like a stranger thinks if Kai stays and trusts BP, he can shine. I mean, that's also assuming, and again, I've not talked to BP about this or anything, but that's assuming that Auburn would be willing to do that. Oklahoma does beat Mississippi State. I mentioned earlier that they were giving Mississippi State all they could handle. Oh, my goodness. A really nice move in transition. They passed it to Simo, and he couldn't finish in traffic in transition. I had my finger ready to go for the he's heating up, and then he missed it. Unfortunate. I personally think Georgia should have been called for a foul on that drive. He used his arm and extended it to create space and knock the defender back, but they didn't call it. Fine, whatever. 23-17 is what we're looking at. God, I wish Simo could shoot. They're giving Simo so many good looks tonight. And he just, you know what I mean? I mean, we know what SEMO is, right? They do too. They know what we know. All right, Tahad from 16 missed that one too. So Auburn had a second chance opportunity and wasn't able to get it in. Still a good possession from the sense. I like the quality of the shot. Well, the second shot wasn't great, but that's an hate fouls like that. As Nolan Richardson always said, it's advantage, disadvantage. And what happened right there was not a disadvantage to the guy with the ball in his hand. So to me, that's a bullshit foul. I don't like it. Don Proper-Dickens says SEMO was damn sure getting ready to heat up. Ambitious says Gus Malzahn's calling plays right now. I like these calls right here. That's pretty good. Let's run that triple. We got a 2nd and 1 at the goal line. Hey, let's just do a triple reverse pass. I like that. They'll never see it coming, boys. Auburn's defensive rebounding has been pretty good today, so that's a good thing. And I feel like in general the shot quality for Georgia has been poor, so that's a good thing from Auburn. So you got some good things to say about Auburn on the defensive side. But it's over here, man, on the attacking end. You know, Auburn's the number 1 offense in the country. Oh, Tahad just took someone to school. I think that's Spicy P. I think that's an example right there where Broom lacks that explosion we were talking about, right? He gets the ball underneath on the dish from Tahad, moves, takes one step inside, gets a perfect shot, and just doesn't really get up very high on the shot. Well, Auburn's free throw shooting has been kind of ass today, too. Another miss there. Chaney missed 2 in a row earlier, and Janai just missed 1. Let's see. Ambitious thinks Auburn should go small ball against these turds. Jester, he didn't say turd, although he probably thinks that. I kind of editorialized that. Looks like Felix Stranger says Broom is a little frustrated with Tahad. Keep an eye on that. Miles Kelly fighting through that screen right there. Did a nice job. Completely disrupted the action. I like Dillon against Azanul. He hit the shot, but it was a low-quality shot. 24-19. Auburn, similar to the game last time, struggling offensively. And not a problem that we would ever thought that we would think be having from Auburn back-to-back games. Now that was just an absolute vintage Janai Broom move right there. Rotates to his left, gets the defender rolling, spins back to the other side. Well, he moves to his right, I guess. Sets him up. Guy slips over to his right shoulder. Janai spins very quickly, and he's just got to lay in. That's old school right there. They're going to call James with the charge right there. Arm extended, gave him the Sean East. Yeah, this is where he can feel him on the opposite shoulder. And when he can do that, he knows he can spin and kind of hold him back with that other elbow. And he knows, because he's played this game long enough, he knows that's cash money, unless he's got a backside defender, which he could see he didn't have. I love to see that. Well, Chad hasn't hit shit tonight, has he? 0 for 3 means he's 0 for 4 now. Oh, that was an ambitious drive. Oh, I love it when Tahad does that. And he usually finishes. Tahad hadn't hit anything either, has he? He's 0 for 3, 0 for 4. Georgia just can't shoot, guys, period. I mean, I think that's part of why Auburn's playing this way. They know they can't shoot. That's just another one of those followaways. Oh, God. Another one of those follow-away shots from Janai. I don't love it. I just don't love it. I feel like it's just getting away from him too much. Oh, Dylan. Don't call him for a foul on that. I don't think they called Dylan on that. I think they called Chad on that. Spicy P, I don't like those fadeaways, and I'm guessing you don't either. I mean, if you do it every now and then, that's fine, but whatever. No, they're going to call that foul on Tahad. I love the way Dylan stepped up to handle that screen action. It was sweet. Unfortunately for Auburn, also involved a foul from somebody else. Yeah, Dylan had his head up on that screen action, and he was up there to fuck it up. But apparently, I guess Tahad was chasing the guy rolling over that screen and must have just grabbed him. Yeah, Wizard D. I think that's 100% true. He says Broom is better going toward the rim. That's kind of how he used to. That was his default setting before, right? He get in that position, what I would call his attack position, with the ball in his left hand, somewhere between 6 and 10 feet out, and then he would kind of lean in or drive in, and that would be his cash money. That'd be his 80% shot. You don't see that as much now. He's either kind of set shooting or he's falling away. I don't know. Sorry about that. Spicy Pea says something is definitely up with Chad. It all seems forced. I feel like his shot selection has been kind of on par with what he usually does, right? He had a couple push shots from the baseline, which is kind of a staple for him. He had one in transition that he missed. He had that long three right there that he missed, which I think he could have probably pump faked and then stepped up and gotten 2 or 3 feet closer. Maybe would have hit that. I don't know. Jester says we have to start making shots near the basket if we want to go deep in the tournament. I would agree with that. Although, the action is always got to have it's the better backcourts that win in March. And Auburn certainly has some questions in the backcourt. I mean, I'm not obviously of the opinion that Zep Jasper and Denver Jones are equivalent. I am not at all. But Auburn doesn't have that superstar, cool hand Luke point guard, right? I like Tahad. I really like Tahad, but he's not really a point guard. Auburn still makes it work because so many guys are good dribblers and can start actions, whether it's Miles, whether it's Chad. Chad hits a three finally. That's one thing that's very statistically unusual for Auburn, and Georgia hits a three right as it was about 2 seconds left. And it looks like that's how it's going to go into halftime. Georgia's going to be over the moon having, 24 points. Okay, 29-24. I'm trying to understand what Janai is discussing with BP there. I don't think that's Janai's guy that shot that. I'm sorry. I'm watching the replay, just watching BP to try to see what he's mad about. So Janai pointed that guy out, the shooter. He pointed him out before they got to half court on the break, as if to say somebody needs to stop the ball. That is not normally Janai's job. I think what Janai is going to argue is that Tahad should have stepped up to take that challenge on rather than him, because that's not really Janai's gig. But BP obviously was of the opinion that, hey, man, there was nobody else to do it. You had to be you. So that's interesting. Rob is a little bit concerned, says, looks like we're on pace for 58 points. I know nobody's a mathematician here. But, yeah, it does look that way. Typically, Auburn doesn't just go – they're usually going to step up in the second half. But, hey, first things first, let's give Georgia some credit. They're playing some defense today, as they have been known to do from time to time. And they gave Auburn some scoring issues in Athens. Now, Georgia typically doesn't play like this on the road. They usually have trouble on the road, although they played a great first half in Knoxville earlier this year before getting hit pretty hard. Ephesians, who's been away for most of the first half, comes back, says, goodness, Jay, between this game and last game, I'm thinking the Auburn staff changed out the rims to smaller ones. That made me laugh. It would be one thing if Auburn was just shooting bad, but that's 2 other teams in a row. Interesting. Colby says, I always think it's funny when opposing teams celebrate because they're only losing by a little bit. It's true. And Nick took a 140-point over. Yeah, I don't really know about that, man, from a betting perspective. I don't usually think about things. I don't bet on sports. Well, that's not true. I bet on horse racing sometimes, but that's it. I mean, I would have had concerns coming into this game about Auburn, being fully rehabilitated from a scoring perspective, and Georgia's not a big scoring team either, so I probably would have been tempted to take the under on that. But if I had done that, that probably would have meant Auburn would have scored 6,000 points or 110 like some teams do. Missouri against the so widely respected Nate Oates defense. 29-24 at halftime. This is not a score that we thought we would be seeing from this particular matchup. Georgia, let's see, 8 of 27 from the floor. That's 30%. Auburn is over the moon about that. In the bottom right of the box score there, you can see points per possession, 0.774 for Georgia. Auburn is absolutely stoked about that number right there. Now, the problem is that you've got the Auburn points per possession, which is 0.967, and that is way low. Auburn wants that number to be at least, good God, did Ole Miss just get absolutely shit on today or what? Okay, it's closed up a little lot here. They were showing the highlights, and Vanderbilt was up a bunch. But now, here we are getting closer to halftime, and Ole Miss has cut it. Oh, Ole Miss is leading now, late in the second half. Looks like it's going to be a nip and tuck game there, going down to the wire. As you guys know, I'm a big I just think Ole Miss is underrated. I know they lose their fair share of games and everything. I just think they're better than most of these middle-of-the-pack teams. Let's see, Chip says Miles Kelly's halfway to a double-double. He had a triple single. Even though Janai's kind of not passing the eye test today, he still got 12 and 6 with a block in 19 minutes of work. That's a lot. That's a heavy load, man. And the alleged infirm Chad Baker-Mazara's got 17 minutes. And look at the bench, guys. I mean, with the exception of Tahad, you're only getting 4 minutes from Chaney due to fouls. Turtle comes in, 3 minutes. Semo gets 4 minutes, and that's it. They're really rolling 6 deep today. And, we talk about the depth at Auburn, but it seems like, it gets tighter and tighter all the time, and that it's without injury. I mean, we know what Semo is, right? He's kind of an innings eater. That's pretty much all he is. Turtle don't play too much, but I thought he played, he had an effect in there. And you guys, of course, we all love Chaney, but when he gets 2 personal fouls, it's got to come out. I mean, shoot, that's his own thing. Small Victories is a little surprised because he'd love to see Chaney play more. I think everybody would like to see that, but when you get the 2 fouls there in the first half, they got to sit him. Beppo thinks, looks like we're going to win 58-48. We'll take it. I like that. Ephesians says it may not happen today, but Auburn really needs to get hot from the floor soon as we approach the tournament. RX Eagle says sipper of choice today, JG. I do not have one in front of me. We can probably make that happen. Hell yeah, we can make that happen. I didn't have one queued up, but now I will. Peerless single barrel. Probably pound for pound my favorite distillery in Kentucky. They don't make anything I don't really, really like. The problem with Peerless, and I would be curious to see what Casa DP thought about this. Also, Taxman, if he's here. I've not seen him yet. A little expensive. Peerless is a little more expensive than I'd like to see. I think your typical, the regular Peerless, which has the white label as opposed to this red one, it's usually about $80 to $85 at the ABC store, which is a lot. At retail, is a hell of a lot. I do love Peerless. I'd also like to know who won this Houston-Iowa State game. I think you guys know, but I didn't have a chance to see the end of that. Let's see. Damon K says less people in the rotation. Maybe Bruce trying to get the team back on track, getting too close to one and done this time to be playing poorly. And Rob B says, I'm excited to watch Kentucky at Alabama after this game today. Wow, so Houston ended up winning that game by a decent margin. They're almost 10 or more than 10, something like that. So, wow. Here's a good game, too. West Virginia. One of those teams you don't really want to mess with in March Madness. At Texas Tech. Not sure how I feel about these West Virginia uniforms. Like, they're like dark blue and yellow, and then they're wearing royal blue and white. Like, what are we doing? They look like Memphis. They look like Memphis State. So they deserve to have that loss right there. Yeah, Mike says LJ Cryer was on fire. I saw that shot. That was like some Tahad Pettiford shit right there. Oklahoma State Cowboys at Kansas. Kansas having a really tough run of form here. I wonder if Flory Badunga regrets that decision at all. Of course, he may have like a total dime piece girlfriend or whatever, and he's not regretting it, but you know how it goes. Brent says, anyone that thinks Auburn will lose to a 16 seed doesn't know the tournament. Beppo says, is Peerless a lot if you love it? Love costs sometimes. And also, I would play this one for you, bro.
The danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany.
That is what happens when you pay for love, right? I'm just teasing, man. Cassidy P says, I'm damn near half a bottle into this Taylor single barrel. May have to go higher octane if we don't wake up just to soothe the pain or the anxiety or the frustration, whatever your emotion of the hour may be. That dude Battle for Iowa seriously looks like he's 45 years old. I went to school with a guy who looks like that. Let's see. RX Eagle thinks that now that we're sipping, Auburn's going to play better. That would be great. I'll do what I can. If it means I keep sipping this single barrel Peerless, I'll do it. I will do it if you make me. Just general thoughts, though, here. More of the same. This is similar to what we saw against Arkansas. Very grindy. Auburn's defensive markers are terrific. Georgia, I feel like their shot quality's been below average, and they haven't hit a lot. I mean, 8 of 27. There'll be Georgia fans that say, well, we're just not hitting. The shot quality's not very good. I will say conversely, I think Georgia's done a nice job defensively, and I think Auburn's shot quality's not very good either. 11 of 36 from the floor. That means Auburn missed, 25 shots? 25 misses? That means if they did that again, that would be 50 missed shots. Which the last time they did that was against Florida, when they missed 50 shots. Raven says, are we all drinking now? I think we're all drinking age, Raven. I know you are. I know Cassidy P is. I know Chip Chip is. Chip Chip's got daughters. Well, he has at least one that's drinking age. Small Victory said he had a balding spot talking about the battle guy for Iowa. Seriously, like he's like he might be a granddad in pretty short order here. Oh, great question. Cassidy P is asking about bunny misses. Let's take a gander here at the numbers for that particular statistic, which is always beguiling, I think. Auburn at the rim today is 4 of 11. So 4 of 10 layups, missed a dunk. Trying to think of the missed dunk. Would that have been, I guess, was that Dylan getting stuffed at the rim? That doesn't really count as a miss, does it? Anyway, 4 of 11, which is not good. The Georgia Bulldogs at the rim are 3 of 7. 2 of 6 on layups, 1 of 1 on dunks. So that's a little bit better. Blake R., the legend himself, coming in from the East Coast. Hopefully still on his week off, although he was not feeling well. Says, finally made it to the drain. Here's my obligatory super chat.
Super chat.
JG, love you, man, now. Raise that glass and drink with me. Here it is, Blake. I hope you feel better, G. You deserve it, man. You deserve it this whole week, honestly, but I can't make up for lost time. Small Victory says Dylan had 2 missed in one position. I mean, technically he had 2 stuffed, right? But, yeah, it was an attempt that didn't go in, so to the letter of the law, it is a miss. Spicy Pieces, I wonder if it's just the grind of the season wearing on these teams. No one's on fire right now. I mean, I would argue that Duke is, but as we mentioned earlier, Duke's strength of schedule is pathetic, and it's not really their fault. They're just playing in a league that's like the world has completely passed them by, the ACC, and they've added some kind of fluff and fat to their group. I mean, Cal's terrible. Stanford is not terrible, but they're not very good. Syracuse, that's kind of old school, I guess. I mean, Notre Dame's not good. SMU's not. I mean, shit, SMU might be the best outside of Louisville. It's crazy. That league sucks. That's just absolutely terrible. I don't know how that happens. Cassidy P says Duke is balling against Dare. That's about right. Seriously. So Spicy P did mention, and this is true, Duke did lose to Clemson maybe 2 weeks ago there at Little John, 77-71 in that game. So, yeah, Duke even has their moments where they slip. And RX Eagle correctly surmises that half the SEC would be on fire if they played Duke's schedule, if they were playing Wake Forest and Cal and Stanford every week. Yeah, that would be amazing. Those guys, based on the Ken Palm numbers, would be all those guys would be the bottom of the SEC, I believe. Let me see what the worst SEC team is rated on Ken Palm here. This would be South Carolina, I reckon. They're 83. LSU's the next worst, and they're 77. Oklahoma's the next worst after that, and they're 47. Good golly, Miss Molly. 47 is the trash of the SEC. I mean, jeez. You look at the ACC, I mean, teams like Syracuse, 130. Good God, they're horrible. NC State, 108. Boston College is just garbage this year. Miami's worse than garbage this year. They've won 2 of their last probably 15 games. Of course, their coach quit, to be fair. Cal's 117. They're trash. Notre Dame is 95. They're trash. Guys, we're in the middle of the pack of the ACC right now. Virginia Tech's 166. Virginia is literally in the middle of the pack, and they're 102. So you're absolutely right, dude. The worst, South Carolina would be at worst, absolute worst, middle of the pack in the ACC. Georgia Tech's 111, and they're like in the upper half here. Florida State is in like 7th place, and they're 85. I mean, jeez. The guys, the folks out there who are my age, man, and you remember what the ACC was like in the late 80s. I mean, it was powerhouse after powerhouse, even into the 90s and stuff. Those days are over, my man. It still says Auburn Arena up there at the top. Does it really say that? Or was that just old footage? Revin says, I can't believe LeVar Ball had a foot amputated. Must have been trying to pay for a new pair of BBB shoes. Come on, that's funny, man. Yeah, Spicy P was confused to see that too. I'm guessing that's old footage, right? Matt says Clemson might be the only other tournament team. So Louisville's definitely getting in the tournament, but it might not go too far past that. I mean, honestly, like in the ACC, it's definitely Duke, definitely Louisville. Clemson's almost certainly going to get in. And then it comes down to like SMU and Wake Forest. North Carolina's, they would probably find a way to get them in as a 10. And then I think like Stanford, I think from there on out, no. It's crazy, dude. Pitt, I thought Pitt was pretty good this year, and they're not. A small time says South Carolina can't catch a break. Russell, going back to the old days when Bobby Cremins was at Georgia Tech. Fun to watch. Absolutely. Had some good teams back then. Starting with Bruce Dalrymple in the mid-'80s. Kenny Anderson, number 12. The very first jersey I ever wore was a Kenny Anderson, Georgia Tech 12. Loved Kenny Anderson. All right, we're starting off with the second half. Appreciate you, Blake, for jumping in with that super chat there during halftime. Glad to have you for the rest of the way on this one. 29-24 as we start the second half, and let's see if Auburn can get something going offensively. We love what they've been doing on defense, but offense, not so much. Auburn's playing, this is a very much like a slag-off man. Blue Kane just put up a shot that was about 2 feet short on a 12-foot shot, but a foul was called. Blake asks, who do we hate more, Dane Bradshaw or Pat Bradley? For me, it's Pat Bradley all day long. I've met Dane a couple times because he's a BP guy, and he comes to practice, every now and then, and he's a good dude. Pat Bradley, I don't care, man. He could give my daughter a kidney if she needed it, and I wouldn't like him. I would shake his hand, though, but you know what I mean. Newman says we're going to dominate now that our missing piece is here, and he's talking about Blake frickin' R. The man from the East Coast, he's going to save us. He's going to pull us through. They did miss a free throw there, so it's 29-25. Oh, now that was delicious right there.
Boom shakalaka.
Incisive pass from Chad to Janai at the free throw line, who then quickly ooped it to Dylan for a dunk ski. That was nice. That's the kind of tempo we love to see. That's the kind of tempo that Auburn has throttled people with earlier in the year. That was a weird foul right there. I'd like to see a replay on that. Oh, he's come back from his eye being gouged out of his face. That's foul. 100%. Well, Asa got juked on that one. Asa thought he was going to be able to block that pass from Janai, and he did not get there. He didn't make it. That's 2 in a row right there for Dylan. 2 fouls on 1 possession. This is not great. Let me see. Is he on 3 now? No, he's on 2. That's good. Nah. Azenul at the line. After that foul by Dylan. I'm still showing Dylan with 2, so I guess he only has 2. Surprises me. Usually he's got 1 in the first half, All right, Azenul hits both to get it to 27-31. Boy, we're past the time where Auburn needs to step on the accelerator here. I mean, jeez, come on now. I think Janai was going for the alley-oop there to Dylan, and then instead he just put it in. It's probably a good thing because somebody had kind of butt-dialed Dylan and wasn't allowing him to get to the rim, even though he tried to get there. Could have been a foul on Dylan, but the ball went in, so it's all good. That's great defensive positioning by Janai right there, and to not over-pursue that ball, to let him take that shot because he knew he's in a bad position, and then Denver's driving down the lane in transition the other way. All set up by Janai not getting overzealous defensively and just letting that guy's shitty positioning be the problem. And then 25 comes down and hits 1 in the bucket. Jeez. Chad, what happened here? I feel like Chad kind of lost his balance there and kind of fell into him. Hey, this guy's averaging 2 points a game. That's not bad. All right, Georgia back up to 30. Or I should say Georgia hits 30 for the first time, but you know what I mean. I felt like Auburn was getting a little bit of a push there, and then Georgia came down and got themselves an old-fashioned 3-point push. Denver going to splash that bad boy? He is not going to splash that bad boy. And when you come together like butt cheeks. That was an interesting pass from 25 to Azanul. Oh, good job by Dylan. He was paid particular attention to staying vertical on that. Oh, I thought they were going to call a foul on Janai on that screen right there. He didn't move, though. He did have the elbow up high. That's a foul. It's got to be a foul. Yeah. Chad makes me nervous. He makes me nervous because I just think he talks too damn much. I don't understand why he's dancing around. I mean, he's having a legitimately bad game here. 3 points on 1 of 6 shooting. 2 rebounds is all he's got. And I love the fact that he's, demonstrative and he wears his emotions on his sleeve, I guess, because he's kind of I know that he's a clown and a cut-up, But, geez, dude, just let's focus on the scoring and the shooting. There he is, Neil J. from a spot in the Caribbean. I'm not sure where. Glad to have you here, my man. And also, Taxman says, just getting into the game, what did I miss? Nothing good, really. Auburn's been kind of okay today. Defensively, very good. Attacking-wise, not so good. Shot quality's been a little bit lower than usual, and they haven't hit as many as I thought they would. So, long story short, Auburn's not scoring very much. Kuhneman says Chad is going to chat and no truer words have been spoken. It's just something you got to deal with it. I talk about a similar situation in therapy. Every time I go, we talk about a certain group of people that my friends that I feel like let me down, and she always says, I think your problem is your expectations. I think it's because they're being who they are and you want them to be something different, but that's not up to you. She's right about it. She's right. You can't change people. You can't change people as much as you want to. Sometimes we want to. Blue Kane with a fortuitous kick of the ball. Tried to Euro step that bad boy, and he got himself an assist on it. Nice job. So Auburn gets a little push, and then Georgia finds a way to step back into the game. So Desperado says shot quality worse than a bad bar. Kuhneman says, sorry again, I let you down, Commodore. Never. Taxman says, thank you for that bourbon site. Ordered Blanton's Black and straight from the barrel on Saturday in my hands on Wednesday. Look at that. I very rarely would ever speak super, super highly of a company, but that's a situation where I have been to their storefront. I have bought from them personally. I have bought from them through their site. I have engaged with the girl who runs it, and she knows her shit like nobody else I know. So I trust them fully, and I don't know if you surely you did, but every time I buy something from them, their packaging is so good. It's almost like an art form in and of itself, the way they package it. Miles Kelly, that's a drive right there. I love it.
He's heating up.
Nice drive. Still an underutilized part of the offense, I think, Miles Kelly. I feel like he's kind of become this niche player where he's the spot-up shooter, and he's good at that. I mean, I'm not trying to say that, but he's got more to offer than just being a spot-up shooter. He can do some of that right there, and I think he can finish in traffic too. I like him a lot. Russell says, my therapist quit the business due to my visits after the Georgia games in football. He or she just said, I'm out. Out. I'm out. All right, let's get some looks here. We're going to look at this foul situation. I think it's unevenly distributed in this half, which doesn't necessarily mean it's a refereeing problem. An officiating problem. I should have said that. We'll take a look at the second half box score to see exactly what's going on here. All right. Let's get these hot, fresh stats up for you guys. Out with the old, in with the new. Now, those of you who say, hey, man, Auburn 11, what are you talking about, JG? This is just second half, okay? This is just since halftime. Wow, Auburn's shooting great, 4 of 5, which, fits the eye test, 3 of 3 from the line, so that's all great. Points per possession this half, 1.5 for the Auburn Tigers. That is outstanding. Of course, Georgia having some success, too, scoring the basketball, 4 of 5 from the line helps a lot. Personal fouls are 5-2 in favor of, I guess, Auburn. And, yes, AU Texans' packaging was chef's kiss. It is amazing. Like, Dexter would be impressed because it's, like, so wrapped up with that clear stuff that I literally have to get the shears out to cut it out. But anyway, everything I've ever gotten from them was just super, super legit. So I'm glad you had a good experience. They don't pay me or anything. I was just trying to pass along to my friends and fellow bourbon heads a good way to get some stuff. It is expensive, but you do get what you're looking for there. Plus, I mean, in our state, ain't no way you're getting it straight from the barrel. You're not going to walk into ABC and be like, oh, you've got some Blanton straight from the barrel. Wonderful. I'll take that. That will never happen in your lifetime. That don't even happen at the quarterly allocations. Let's see. Chris Hill saw evidence of Simo having a great box out, which is great to see. He does the little things to kind of help the ball club. Good eye there, Chris. And Russell says, get up by 10 and make them quit. I am on favor of that for sure. Cassidy P says he may be switching to some barrel strength bourbon shortly. The score is getting him a little anxious. And Blake thinks Auburn's being a little lazy on defense. I think specifically he means that they're getting a little reachy and not moving their feet in a staccato manner to get in position without leaning. ESPN going back to the 3 free throw foul. I'm not sure what the replay is. You guys can hear it, and I can't, so I'm not sure what he's talking about. Maybe he's talking about who CBM's talking to there or something. I don't know. Wonder why Chad is off the court and sitting on like a chair or something. I wonder what he's doing. Rob B says, can't wait to see Howard enter the game. Just kidding. That's funny. Come on. I respect those of you who are still clamoring to see more Kai Howard. I respect it, and I think it's great. He is an exciting athlete. There's no doubt about it. There's another one of those weird turnovers like Auburn had in the Arkansas game. They had back-to-back possessions in the Arkansas game. That one was a little different, but looks like Chad's getting a little bit of oxygen there, although he's in one hand he's doing the oxygen. On the other hand, he's chewing on his fruit chews that he loves so much. So I guess he's fine. I don't know. Simo in the game right now. In there for his boxing out and his passing. That is a great play there by Janai. Wow, that was great. Used his body. Instead of using his arm to create space, he kind of used his body, which you could get away with a lot more easily. Created a little bit of space and got the shot plus the foul. That is a crafty, crafty move and also tough to do. Now, the fact that this is still at 40 makes me think they're going to try to call that foul on the floor, but yeah, it was a foul on the floor. My bad. I thought he'd gotten it in there. Still a very crafty move. Kind of got bailed out on that one. He's going to try to go for a dunk. I don't think he had good handle on the ball. Ended up getting fouled. Spicy Pete says he's got asthma, pneumonia. It's got to be something like that, right? Chip calls it a nitrous charge-up. My man, that's what I'm talking about. And Mike says Skittles worked for Marshawn Lynch. Hell yeah, it did. I'm about that action, boss. That was as bad a free throw miss as you will ever see from Janai Broom. Good golly, Miss Molly, he missed that one by a mile. We haven't seen a coconut bra guy lately, have we? Or let me rephrase that. We haven't seen the coconut bra guy wearing the coconut bra lately. Yeah, Chip says they didn't count the Janai bucket. No, they called it on the floor, and they actually went out of bounds for that one. It's good recognition by Blue Cane there to. That's not the way the play was drawn up, but he saw that the defense had sagged way off on that on the drop guy, which is Azanul, and he just basically dribbled alongside of him, and Auburn didn't pick it up because they were so focused on Azanul. Kind of it's like how in your real life, you see the things you expect to see. Miles is frustrated with himself for missing these shots. He's getting some good looks there. He just got a good one right then and missed it. Yeah, they're worried about Azanul dropping out of this screen. And so Janai's going to pick him up, and I think Miles is trying to work on him too. No, it wasn't Miles. Like Chaney was worried about number 6, and then there really wasn't anybody to challenge Blue Cane. Brett Mays gives us an update to say Vanderbilt is up 5 on the Ole Miss Rebels with 1:30 to play. Small Victory is a big fan of the way that Miles Kelly's been busting his ass. Looks like Denver just put up a 3 and didn't hit a single thing, but then Chadley gets another chance, and he says he had very little time to set that shot, and he still got it off and hit the Splash City on that one. That was nice. I wish there was one time in my life that I could make a play like that ever, just to have the ball kind of flip into your hands. You say, fuck it, I got to shoot it, and then splash. Like, oh, my God. I mean, the awareness also that he had to get that done. It's great. Great basketball play. That's a framing problem right there. That's somebody fucked up there. And we can say that Chaney just got beat, but that's a framing problem. Uh-oh. Oh, we got ourselves some fisticuffs there. I don't know exactly what was going on. Tahad is the forward-most Auburn Tiger in that situation, so I'm guessing he was chirping a little bit. I can't imagine that Chaney would have been the one starting a fight because that's not him. There was a fundamental breakdown in the way that screen was framed. Auburn's got to have somebody on the bottom side of that screen. They did not have it. Chaney was having to zip back there to chase him to the rim. I think it would have taken a Herculean effort just to get his hand on the ball, so I don't really... Now, it may have been Chaney's responsibility for being that bottom side defender on the screen. I don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably Chaney with the... I really don't think Chad did anything there. I think Chad was saying something to the ref, and then the Georgia guy just decided to get his panties in a wad about it. Taxman says he was at the Samford Western Carolina game. He says that Western Carolina had a wing named Kell who we need to take a gander at. Spicy P thinks they're trying to get in Chad's face to get Chad kind of lit, which I'm sure people know to do, right? Still don't understand why that guy did that. I mean, he's clearly in the wrong, I think. Now, from that angle right there where they started, where he's got his hands up on Denver, that's not a complete representation of what was going on there. Schaefer Kia thinks that dude bumped our guys on purpose to start shit. I completely agree. Of course, announcers are blaming Chad because that's the way it goes. And Chip says Pat Adams is calling the flagrant one on Chad remotely. By the way, we've got Daly as the crew chief in this one, and he's pretty good. According to Coach Sonny Smith, he's a pretty good one. So Scott C thinks Chad is actually innocent here. I definitely don't. There's no doubt that Chad did not start this, and I would also argue that he didn't finish it either because he wasn't going, at him or anything too much. See, Beppo says Dog was trying to start a melee. Curious to see what the judgment's going to be here. By the way, our man Matty Crouch is the SEC replay official there. You can see his balding head there, bottom right. He's an absolute stud. He's a friend of the site, and he's a badass. So just want to say that. Kanuman says we need Coach Smith to work with Chaney for a minute so he can defend without fouling. And Spicy P thinks is going to be like essentially offsetting penalties, right? Is he fixing to open up some more fruit chews? I'm telling you, the guy eats fruit chews just like, more than a sixth grader. Like, I'm serious. Yeah, he's fixing to eat some more. It's not like he's getting fat or anything, so I'm not like trying to judge. It's just like he eats a lot of sugar. That explains why he's so amped up all the time, right? It's that and Jolt Cola. Travis J is with us, my man. Says Chad is the basketball but talented version of Smoke Monday. That's interesting. I can't hear him. Boy, I'm going to have to call some serious bullshit on this. So they're calling double technicals. Well, really 4 technicals, two on each team. And on the Auburn side, I think they're giving SEMO and Denver technicals here. I thought he said white 5. White 5? SEMO? Are you fucking kidding me? What? No, they're calling. They called one on Chad. I'm looking at it right now. Denver and Chad, and then number 6. Six and 5 for Georgia, which 5 obviously, and then 10 and 2. I don't think that's fair on Chad. I can kind of see with the Denver part because Denver kind of did get in his face, although it was clearly not unprovoked. And Chad did kind of come at him a little bit, but it's not like he was swinging or anything. I don't know, man. Now, stoop up Denver, maybe you could argue, kind of got up on number 5 a little bit, as he should, man. You got to defend your teammate. That's just how I see it. This is just about his reputation, is all that is. From an officiating perspective, that was a nice little shoulder dip right there. He didn't get it to go. They just want to call fouls on him because he has that reputation for being a... Oh, nice play by Dylan. Oh, that was just unbelievable break right there. Dylan blocks the pass out, throws it deep for Chad, who dumps it off to Janai for a dunk in transition. That's just really good basketball right there. Boy, Georgia's moving the ball very confidently right now, but they still can't shoot. Dylan with a power big man rebound right there. Hey, you Taxman, you're right, bro. I hate to say it, but he says Chad has earned this reputation, and this is what comes with it. It's the truth, man. He's going to get calls against him, specifically in cases like that I don't think he deserves, but it's because of the other stuff that's gone on. That's probably true. Miles has not been good today shooting the basketball. Miles and Tahad have really struggled today shooting the basketball. Chad struggled early, but he just hit a really nice shot, though.
He's heating up.
But this is kind of Chad, right? When shit gets kind of hairy and he gets in a fuss and he gets a technical foul called on him again and he's in some fracas, you know what I mean? He gets better. Like, he's better like that. He's better as an angry player. Asa Newell got 2 inches off the floor on that drive right there. Wow, Josh says BP is essentially conceding an NCAA championship by not reeling him in. So, I mean, all bullshit aside, I have 2 degrees in psychology. I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I don't have a license or anything. I'm just a message board moderator. With that said, I think if you really understood where Chad is coming from, you don't need to reel him in the way you're thinking. Chad's a joker. Chad's a laugher. Chad is he's just a vivacious person. I don't think he's not a mean person. He's not an angry person. He's like a jester. And it doesn't change the fact that the way the things are going, that he's getting technicals called on him, that doesn't matter. But he's not coming from a place of anger. And so I think from BP's perspective, it's not necessarily something you have to curb. Now, if you're thinking, hey, man, he got thrown out of the Yale game, and that was a big problem for Auburn last year, and that is because he's being, punching that guy in the stomach or whatever, like, yeah. If I'm BP, I can live with Chad. I can't live with Kai. I can't live with the disrespectful bullshit. But that's not really what Chad does, right? I think Chad just gets too amped up. He probably needs to ease up on those wiggle treats. Oh, Janai with another 3-pointer, deep one. He's got it to 50-40 now. Spicy Pieces, Hoke said if you try and reel in Chad, it makes it worse. I have to agree with Hoke on that. I've actually had some conversations with Hokinson about that, and I think his insights on Chad are right on the money. Oh, see? Asa Newell, of all people, comes down there, hits a 3 to kind of keep Auburn from shutting that door on them. Yeah, Yabo pretty much says exactly the way I feel about it. He loves Chad's energy, which I do too. He gets a little out of hand sometimes, but it's a bit of a package deal. I think that's just he lives on energy, and he lives on energy, and we know he brings a lot to the table for Auburn, right? He's a good ball handler. He's a good shooter. He can run the offense if needed. You notice how, like, this is a very subtle thing, and me and Kanuman might be the only people that notice this shit. But, like, when people are talking to Janai, a lot of times he blows them off. But if Burgo says something to him, he will stop every fucking thing he's doing and listen. And you saw it right there on that little replay. Not replay, but a little cutaway. Dylan's talking to him, and he's like, whatever. And then another player was talking to him, he's like, whatever. And then Burgo said something to him, and he was like, yes, sir, Damon gives Dylan some credit for saving a shit talk technical there. Hey, man, that's points he's saving, right? Let me go ahead and get another shot of these second half stats in the box here. Don't block the box. And Jay may have just screwed himself up. No, he didn't. Why am I speaking about myself in the third person? I do not know. Leave me alone. All right. Hot, fresh stats. These are still going to be second half box stats. 19-21 Auburn Tigers in the lead this half. Rebounding 8-4 in favor of the Auburn Tigers. I know Cassidy P is going to be happy to see that turning around a little bit. 5 of 10 from the floor for Georgia. 8 of 13 for the Auburn Tigers. A lot of free throws for Georgia so far. 7 of 8 at the line, which is terrific for them. Auburn called for 10 personal fouls. They're called for 8, although that's a little misleading for both teams because you got some technicals thrown in there. that kind of didn't really matter. Auburn points per possession is 1.5, which is terrific. That's definitely over what they would be expecting. 1.26 for Georgia is they're happy with that or reasonably happy with it. Of course, they're going to have to play from behind, so they're going to need more than that. But Auburn likes to be in the 1.35 range, and they would prefer to have the other team be in the 1 range. Spicy Piece is foul count update, so you can see the numbers for the half here, which is 10 already for Auburn and 8 for them. And then overall, let me go ahead and get those numbers for you, bro. Overall, you've got 17 personal fouls called on Georgia and 18 personal fouls called on Auburn. So that's pretty much even, right? And you do have 2 technicals on each team. As far as foul trouble goes right now, really nobody in significant foul trouble. I mean, Dylan has 3, but with 10 minutes to go and the amount of minutes that he plays, it's probably about average for him. So really no serious foul troubles. Damari, number 5, the guard for Georgia, has 3 as well. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Brett Mays with an update says Vanderbilt has finished out its win over the Ole Miss Rebels. 77-72. That's good stuff there. Oh, Spicy P says Cheney has 4. My bad. I'm sorry that I missed that. That is an important part of it. Let me see what the numbers are. Yes, Cheney does indeed have 4, and so does Denver. My bad. They're not on the floor right now, so I missed them. So foul trouble. Denver, absolutely. Cheney, absolutely. And then you got Dylan at 3. Other than that, you're good. But Cheney's fouls have just kept him out of this game. He only has 8 minutes played right now, which is insane. He's way too good to be playing 8 minutes at this point. 30 game minutes gone. He's only played 8 of them. That's just not going to get it done. And then Denver's got 7 points in 18 minutes. He's got 4 fouls as well. And Auburn's assist to turnover is still pretty good at 12-4. You really like to see that. That's back to normal vintage Auburn, I think. Georgia's assist to turnover is 5 assists and 10 turnovers. That hurts for them. Spicy P still says Denver 3, but the stats I'm looking at say, I got to go back to home stats here. Still showing Denver with 4. Let's see. He got a personal foul at 19:36 of the first half, 7:14 of the first half, 14 minutes of the first half, and then a technical on the same possession later. So he's got 4. So considering that Auburn really has been going with 7 in this game, to have 2 guys with 4 fouls is kind of a problem. That was a nice play by number 1 to stuff Tahad on that. Tahad kind of telegraphed his intentions there on the drive. Interesting point. Stupup is shocked that Auburn has 12 assists considering all the shots they missed. Yeah, it's 12 assists on 19 buckets, which is, pretty good distribution there. Tahad at the line right now. Who gave me a thumbs down? How dare you? That's hurtful. I'm trying to give you good information and analysis here, strictly from an Auburn perspective. 53-43, the last time Auburn got a 10-point lead. Georgia came right back down with Azanul hit a 3. Let's see if they're able to get a retort. I think 5 more points for Auburn. Like if they were able to get 5 in a row here, might be enough to just kind of knock Georgia out. They're not very scory today, so Chip put the turtle sign in there, and I know what that means. That means Sir Turtle is in the game. Tahad with a very tough shot right there and front rimmed it. Like my man Max McDaniel, a.k.a. Mr. Front Rim. Oh, no. Semo with a really cool idea. The ball just gets knocked away. Blue Cane takes it in there for 2 in transition. Semo with good eyes, head up, got the ball, got the steal. Tried to quickly pass it out, and it got stolen. It's got a little ahead of himself. Now Tahad's gotten the ball stolen from him. Excellent ball control from number 5 to keep our body control, rather, to shield, use his body to shield the ball. And he's going to be going to the line, too. So that's... Knuman calls it the most SEMO play ever. I got to agree, man. Like, half brilliant and half just no... Todd's been just kind of telegraphing today a lot, just in general. Like, he telegraphed that pass. He telegraphed the pass on the break earlier where he got stuffed on the pass. And if in the full court, he ended up getting 2 free throws and hit them both, so that's fine. But there's not a lot of suddenness to what he's doing today. My phone keeps buzzing. Hmm. 53-46 with Georgia still at the line. N says fake a pass to make a pass. That might be actually what you got to start doing here. So they're catching on. Georgia's been doing a nice job of hitting their free throws here this half. And it honestly has been kept them in this game. I believe they're now 9 of 10 at the line this half. It was an ambitious attempt at an alley-oop from Miles Kelly to Dillon. I just think that was too much. I think it was just too ambitious. There was too much traffic. And then Georgia's going to get called for a travel on the other end. Number 6 has not had a good game. I mean, in practice, with nobody playing defense, that's going to be a spectacular dunk right there on the pass from Miles to Dillon. But no. There's too many defenders. There were 3 defenders going through that pass. Now, that is an absolute beauty. Drop. I don't know how Tahad got that ball through there, but my God, he did it. That had to be one of the smallest windows I've ever seen him get a ball through, but he got it through, god dang it. And got a free flush on the other end. That's 2 points, guys. Asa Newell with another 3. Look at that, man. Boy, you got to like it when your center or a power forward can do that. That's kind of like what Jabari used to do. $55-50. I really felt like Auburn was on the precipice of being able to put them away earlier, and it didn't happen. Tahad can get it back going, misses the 3. Great rebound from Sir Tortuga. Oh, but his second chance opportunity goes awry. Knuman wonders if RX Eagle could be the legend Joe D. I did run into Joe D yesterday. Yes, yesterday at Neville Arena. He was going up to the tip-off club meeting, and I had a chance to shake hands with Joe D, the legend himself. I was looking for my my tripod that I'd lost. I never did find it. I had to go buy another one because I'm a dumbass. That's the way it goes. Neil J., somewhere out in the the Caribbean, he says, last year it seemed like we were blowing teams away far too much, and then it came back to haunt us. Came back to haunt the team in March when they were faced with a tough game. Yeah, I think it's good ultimately to learn how to win games differently, in different ways, and just kicking the shit out of people is a lot of fun for us, but it's not great for team development, I don't think. RX Eagle says, nope, sorry to disappoint Knuman. You are certainly not disappointing anyone in this chat, including Knuman, RX Eagle. We're glad to have you here, bro. It's just that our man Joe D is also an RX-type person, and we were just hopeful. That's all. But you're doing a great job, and we're glad to have you here. Neil J says, it's going to be the opposite this year, and we're failing to put games to bed, and somebody will come back and sneak a victory. I do worry about that sometimes, but I think the point that you made initially was that you've got to learn how to win games in different ways, and Auburn showed in the Arkansas game that they can grind one out. Now, Arkansas is kind of an inferior team, as is Georgia, but this is going to have to be a grindy game, and you're going to have to make plays to win it. Maybe, April 2nd, Auburn Tigers are having to play St. John's, and they're going to have to find ways to win that game, too, in a game that's, 3 points all the way through. We've got the legend himself, the mayor of Madison, as far as I'm concerned. D. Lucky is with us now. We're glad to have that. Courtney was very confused yesterday when she learned that the softball team was playing in the Rocket City softball showdown in Madison. It didn't make any sense. It should be the Rocket City blah, blah, blah if it's not in Rocket City because it's in the GOAT Madison. That's just how I feel about it. Let's see. Cassidy P says would like to see us get 2 stops and force the whistle on offense. That should put us at 10-point lead with 6 to go. And he feels like that would be definitely a winning formula. Yabo thinks most games are going to be grindy going forward. Yeah, I mean, first of all, the quality of opponent is going to be taking a step forward. You got Ole Miss coming in midweek, and then you got to go to Kentucky on the weekend, so you know how that's going to go. You don't ever go to Rupp thinking that you're going to be getting calls. Believe me, like that. That's hilarious. This has nothing to do with the basketball game. We're on a commercial break right now. We filed my mom passed away in April. We filed her tax return for 2024 in October, which is still legal because she passed away. And we're due, I guess the estate is due for a significant, refund, excuse me. And we haven't heard a peep from these people. That's 5 months ago, guys. And then Courtney checked on it today, and they just said, we have received the return, and it's being processed. Well, hey, just let me know anytime, guys. Just let us know. I mean, if 5 months isn't enough, we can give you 6, sure. And then Trump says we need to make changes to the IRS. I'm like, yeah, I think we do. I think you're onto something there. Miles Kelly got blocked. Oh, that's going to be a foul. Come on. That's what I'm talking about right there. Miles got blocked. Broom collects the ball, gets hit while he's shooting, puts it in true Janai form, and he gets the foul. That could have been the play. Hey, Cassidy P, that's the kind of play we're looking for right there, G. Good vintage Janai play right there. Absorbs the contact, puts it right in there. Hit this free throw, and we're in business right there. Splash City on that free throw, by the way. That's a 3-point play the old-fashioned way, 58-50. Auburn Tigers, look at that, man. Damon K just gives it a damn. Chris M says, broom. T-Roy Tigers says, big boy ball. Wizard D is impressed as well. A crescendo of commendations from the folks. I'm also getting some texts from Sir Will Collier about Janai. I will not discuss the information included there, too, because he knows where I'm at. And if he'd like to come in the chat, talk about it, he can. N says Janai is more physical this game. He definitely looks like he's playing with a little more of an aggressive bent today. We only had like 1 or 2 of the fall-away jumpers today. He's missed both. But he's hit a couple of threes, and he's played some big boy ball a little bit today. That was one example right there. Georgia, again, kind of keeping themselves resuscitated here at the line this half. I believe that's 9 of 10 or 10 of 11 now at the line for them this half. And just kind of keeping them alive, you know. They've been good at the free throw line. Again, Auburn makes a push, and again, Georgia has a response. Here you go. Ball out of bounds. Taxman says that due to the game being in double bonus right now, we got 45 minutes of basketball left. Yeah, I wish Janai. He definitely looks more like Janai today. Well, that was a very, very nice Janai play right there. And we haven't seen, let's say the last 5 games, we've seen him do that weird kind of lean in, almost like he's tripping over his own feet and just looks a complete lack of explosiveness. We haven't seen that today. I haven't seen one play like that today. He's missed some shots, but I haven't seen that sluggish play. Azanul with a flush right there. Like the guy says in The Big Lebowski, that guy can roll, man. I see you hold your way into the semis. Liam and me, we're going to hug you up. I was like, don't shoot the three. Janai, look at that. Fakes the three and drives the baseline to dunk it, guys. Yeah, he's definitely feeling better. He's starting to take this game over. Let's be real about it. I bet he's up to 20 points. What a dumbass. He's up to 27, Jay. He's 10 of 17 from the floor right now with 11 rebounds. 20 points. Jeez. 27 points for Janai right now. Still got 6 minutes to go in this bad boy. And he's on a little bit of a heater right here. Boy, number 13 just took somebody to the house. That's just not very good defense there. Boy, Janai playing like this, he's basically the Incredible Hulk at this point, and Auburn's still only up 6. Defensively, just not getting it done this half. A great backside rebound from Turtle, but he went down with it instead of going right back up. Boy, number 15 is going to get, or 25 is going to get screamed at by his coach for that bullshit. Yeah, it's just slow reacting on defense is the way I would say it, Blake. I don't sound like saying lazy. I know what you're talking about, though, but it's just a slow response. And when they respond out on a closeout, it's like they're just getting a couple steps too far. So they're kind of late and over exuberant. Newman says Turtle came to get down. Get down, get down, get down, get boodaloo, boodaloo. All right, let's get the overall numbers now. We'll go back to our full game stat box. So he's only got 5 and change left in this bad boy. All right, hot fresh stats coming up. Broom always has a slight limp at this point, Wizard D. I mean, he's not 100%. I think he's probably 80 to 90. And sometimes he just does like a little, I would call a mini tweak of it, just because he's playing on it and stuff. And I think it just kind of stings a little bit, but I think he'll be all right. As I mentioned, I think Janai's over 20. He's at 27, 10 of 17 from the floor, 11 boards, 2 assists, 1 turnover. He's having a hell of a game, 1 block as well. 31 minutes he's played. And we know he's not really feeling all that great, so he's doing all right. Georgia, overall, not shooting the ball very well, but better in the second half. 30% in the first half, 56% from the floor in the second half. But Auburn is right there with him. Auburn is 12 of 22 in the second half, 55%. And, I've been thinking about Georgia shooting the ball very well from the free throw line, but they're only plus, 4 at the free throw line in the second half, so it hasn't been that big of a deal. Or at least not as big as I thought it was. Rebounding, Auburn is plus 4. I know Cassidy P is happy with that, but he would like to see that be about plus 14. Auburn with 15 assists and 7 turnovers. I don't see any problems with those numbers. I'm such a perfectionist with this team. I'd like to see him have fewer than 7 turnovers. I think they had 4 in the Alabama game, so I know they can do that, but that's okay, whatever. 15 and 7, nobody's going to complain about that. Georgia's 8 assists and 13 turnovers. They've been backwards on that pretty much most of the day, so that you like to see that too. So, yeah, I don't know. I think these stats kind of tell the story right here. Auburn's, 10% better today, and that's about where we're at on the score. So, yeah, RX Eagle says guards are basically all cold. I mean, yes, Denver had a pretty good start to the game, but we haven't seen much from him lately at all. Miles has been off the whole game. Tahad really has been off the whole game. He's 0 for 7. Yeah, so guard-wise, you're just not where you want to be. But Janai's been terrific. Chad has been kind of off and on, but he's provided a little bit of a spark when he needed it. But let's be real, right now it's Janai Broom carrying the load right now, and I don't think Georgia, including Azanul, I don't think they have somebody who can stop him right now. Josh L says, are y'all having fun? We're just watching basketball on a beautiful Saturday, man. I'm glad to be alive. Glad to be alive in an era where Auburn is number one and kicking ass in the best conference in college basketball. That's what I'm talking about. So in that sense, yeah, I'm having fun. Cassidy, piece of 7 turnovers really sucks because it's not the byproduct of Tenacious D by Georgia. I would definitely say I can think of at least 2 or 3 turnovers. Like SEMO with the full court turnover was stupid. They had a miscommunication turnover where the ball went right down the middle of the offense with nobody looking. They had another turnover on a alley-oop that was never going to go from Miles Kelly. So, yeah, those are totally unforced turnovers. They're capable of having 4 or 5 a game, you know. But if we're going to talk about Janai's trying something else. Oh, I thought he was going to do a double pump right there. Boy, Janai with extra effort to get that second chance opportunity right here. Hit that Denver. Yes, sir. Drop. Janai changing the game. He did not hit a bucket there, but his effort cleared the way for that bucket right there. He's just been different in this game, man. This is the best game he's played since he got hurt, and they needed it. And the interesting subtext of it is that Auburn didn't have him at all in the first game at the game against Georgia in Athens. And there's Azanul with another 3 to kind of, just as Auburn makes a push, Georgia finds a way to answer. Got to give them credit, man. They're fighting today. So we got Chaney, Miles, Denver, Chad, and Janai. I like this lineup. Of course, Chaney's been out of rhythm today because of fouls. Oh.
Boom shakalaka.
Janai with a quick spin and was able to get there, man. He's definitely got that acceleration back. That's something he hasn't been able to do the last 3 or 4 games at all, to make that super quick pivot and get up, and he did it right there. Boy, Blue Cane, he does not have the acceleration, man. That was great body control from number 6 right there to get the ball to Blue Cane. That was really good basketball, man, because he knew he had guys that were ready for him to charge into them, and he was able to stop on a dime and get that ball passed. That was a nice play. Great body control. Oh, man, Janai. He's just doing something good every single possession. Shit, in some cases more than one getting good in each possession. I bet he's had 10 possessions right now in a row where he's done something to facilitate a bucket every single possession. He is playing off his ass right now. That's good defense right there from Miles Kelly. And Azanul just going to get called for a foul due to great positioning by Janai on the defensive end. It's not even every possession now. It's even the defensive possessions he's doing something. This guy's in a different level right now. Honestly, though, I can't understand what Azanul's doing there. Why would you ever play him to his right shoulder? I don't understand that. I mean, that's an automatic L. Unless you think he's just so hurt he can't make that play. But at some point, I mean, he's proved you wrong too many times. Gut Bucket is with us, my man. The man with the iron hammer. Glad to have you here, Gut Bucket. We're going to give you an applause just for showing up, man. What a badass. Let's see. Russell says that Kansas rolled the hated Okies from Oklahoma State 96-64, so Kansas gets back off the schneid after losing, I think, back-to-back to Utah and BYU. Kanuman says he's going to come back better when he's 100% than he was pre-injury. Interesting. I like that. Maybe because he kind of learned some things when he was out and didn't have his full explosiveness. That is an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, Stu Pup. There's been some comments lately that he's not keeping up with Cooper Flagg, but this performance here is insane. Let me go ahead and get some updated stats so we can gawk at the numbers he's been putting up. Gawk at it, gawk. He has played a game and a half. My God. And it's definitely, those of us who've been watching this game this whole time, it's more than just points for him, man. He has been doing other things too. Been passing the ball. He's been a defensive menace. His presence on the defensive rebounding side of things has been a real problem for Georgia in the last 5 minutes. He's got 6 defensive rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds. He's got 29 and 12 right now, 4 assists, 1 turnover. Good God, plus the block he had early on in the game. He only has 1 foul, 33 minutes. Good golly, Miss Molly. Do we have Hornatius in the chat? We do indeed. He says, sup, Myo Sapiens. What up, bro? I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but whatever. Let's see. Gut Bucket says, we played Alabama last night, 10-2. Wharf Seafood Fest, 11 a.m. to 3. I just set up sound for another band after that, then heading to Sandbar for a gig 8 to 12. I am worn out, but glad to see some of the game. Look at this guy, man. What a badass. Keeping it going. Hornatius says he's been at his daughter's softball tournament, which, she's a star, so I understand that. Blake R. says Hornatius is the creep in a treep. Wow. That poor guy, he hadn't been feeling well. He's been fighting off cancer, and then they sent him to freaking Alabama. What a huge L. They wouldn't even I guess they don't feel comfortable with him covering Auburn. Auburn's too good. He's got to go to a second-class team. I don't know. That's tough. Covering 2 second-class teams. The formerly excellent UK Wildcats and the currently excellent but not excellent enough Alabama Crimson Tide. I'm sure they'll give it 110% in the game tonight, guys. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Hornatius says Gut Bucket drives nails with his fists. That is true. I saw it happen. And Irvin asks, how's his hand? Of course, Gut Bucket got a unfortunate nail injury in his hand at the last Orange Beach shindig, but handled it like a champ. Was ferried to the clinic by the incomparable Bubby, a.k.a. Pifo She, who's been part of the bunker for decades. One of the true legends. Also got a super chat coming through from the Kanuman himself. It says, smash the like button for the National Player of the Year, Ward Am Eagle. And we need to get more likes in honor of Janai, if nothing else. There we go again, man. Auburn gets a push, and then Georgia has a response. This is kind of like the Ole Miss game, except Auburn had Ole Miss put away around the 8-minute mark. And then in this game, Georgia just continued to drive and cause problems. So, Chip says that Bubby says she has to attend Auburn softball the weekend of OBA. I think 19 is also going to miss it due to that as well, which is devastating. But that just gives an opportunity for some other folks to step up and be OBA legends, as far as I'm concerned. It's not like we got a shortage. Let's see, is Denver out of the game? There could be some concern about that due to that foul call. No, Denver's still sitting on 4. Let's see, Russell says he drove a nail through his foot. Doctor found my last tetanus shot record was from 1973. Oh, man, my bad. Thank you for the look there, Russell. Great idea. They did not get a 22-point shot. My bad. I guess I was projecting. My bad. All right, good defensive rebound yet again from Janai Broom, who's been good on the boards this half. It's just been good, period, this half. Chad with a turnover. They're going to get a kickball reset. Thank goodness. Bail him out of another. There's A.D. Scott right there on the bench. Desperado thinks Auburn should play the first SEC tournament game with JPP, Ja'Kai, Turtle, Semo, and AD and let them play half the minutes. My man. That's actually a good idea, honestly. Oh, you can't do that. Can't black a shot off the backboard like that. So Denver's going to get the deuce on that one. I wish just one day in my life I could be an athlete like number 6. Be able to jump high like that. Good golly. Yeah, Don's a little concerned about Chad just becoming a walking mess up. Yeah, I mean, he's been in kind of a slump for like a good 2 weeks now. But he had, when he was getting fired up earlier in this game, I felt like he had a nice little run. But he's the only other player in double digits for Auburn right now. 3 of 10 shooting is not exactly what you're looking for there, but you'd probably rather him have 11 points on 3 of 5 shooting. But 4 assists and no turnovers, I mean, he'll take that all day long. So he's played. I'd probably give him a B or B plus, honestly. He's been helpful. Crazy that it's still a 7-point game, and I feel like Auburn's had some amazing. Oh, man. I think my guy right there, number 5, went right into that stanchion, more or less at full speed. I'm surprised I don't get hurt more often hitting that thing. Okay, he wasn't hurt by the stanchion. He was hurt by his face hitting the floor, I think. Oh, he got also hit by Dylan, maybe? Now they're going to look at it as a possible flagrant. This is just too much, guys. We were watching a game. Courtney and I were watching a game the other night that was not Auburn. I want to say it was that UConn-Creighton game. And I mean, it was like every 20 seconds they were going to the monitor to check some stuff, and a lot of it was just superfluous stuff. Like, it just wasn't. It was a foul, 100%, Wizard D. I agree. But, like, this idea that, like, there's just not that many flagrant fouls. But it's 100% a foul. There's no doubt about that. Blake R says 5 is a drama queen. He's been like this all day, hasn't he? He's the one that started the fight with CBM earlier, or started the fuss. I'm with Chris M. He said he was playing the ball 100%. I mean, I do not think that was trying to hurt somebody. And he was swinging at the ball. Who says basketball is not a full contact sport? Player bleeding or flagrant foul. What would be a fragrant foul? I guess that would be like some like a really delicious duck dish would be a fragrant foul. Feel like a stranger says Pat Adams somewhere is screaming F2. I wonder where he officiated today. My man's got a player with a cigarette shoved up his nose. Essentially, they adjudicated this to be wow, Kentucky up on Alabama early. I adjudicated this to be a common foul, which I think is the right call. I think we all agree. Missed his first free throw. You hate to see it. Desperado says too many beans would be a fragrant foul. I like that. Scott C says armpit to face would be a fragrant foul. Dutch oven would be a fragrant foul. A Taxman, outstanding. It's well done. All right, he hits a second one. 72-66. I believe that was the score of the Louisville Duke Final Four game in 1986. I believe it was 72-66. I don't know why I would know that. It was 72-69. I don't know why I got that wrong. Why would you care? Nobody cares. Desperado says, we always want Bama to lose, right? My general statement is yes, but when they play Florida here in a little bit, then you would definitely be pulling for them, 100%. All right, Denver J, last name redacted, at the line right now. 1:26 to go. You think he's going to have a pretty good shot at hitting at least one of them, and he hits the first one. Vince says, a fragrant foul isn't something that can be shown, just experienced. Oh, man. All right, Denver goes 2 for 2. 2-2, Chuck Woolery would say. And 74-66 again, yes. Blue Cane with a missed three, and Azanul with another stick back. Second chance opportunities, man. Auburn dealing with the pressure here quite well. Are we going to do another review? For fuck's sake, what is this about? I bet the Alabama and Kentucky fans that are wishing that their shit was on this channel are going, what in the world is going on with this Georgia Auburn game? I don't know. Chris M says this could be a clock issue. Also, Small Victories thinks this could be a shot clock issue as well. Oh yeah, shot clock's running right there with Auburn Georgia hadn't inbounded the ball yet. I'm sorry, Auburn hadn't inbounded the ball. Yeah, I got absolutely screwed out of probably 8 seconds of shot clock there. Interesting. This is a strange game. I say this every week. I mean, Janai has been the Incredible Hulk, and so many other players for Auburn that are usually good peripheral contributors have not done hardly anything today. I mean, look, Tahad's 0 for 7. Miles is 3 of 9, which really isn't that bad, I guess, but he has not been a big factor in this game at all. Chad had a really nice run kind of early in the second half, and then he's been kind of quiet lately. It's been all Janai. Offense, defense, transition. Mike White is super pissed off right now. Denver back at the line. Auburn loves to see that. Jeez. Yeah, spicy pieces. I'll take that. Wow. Yeah, this works out nicely right here. I don't understand how we got here, but Stoop Up says another dead ball foul by Georgia on a 90% free throw shooter. It's a bad way to win a game on the road, as Coach Sonny would say. Because Auburn's getting those points with the clock stopped. That's a guaranteed way to lose if you're on the short end of that stick. Wow, there's a three-point shot that didn't touch anything. And Azanul dribbled it right out of bounds. Feel like a stranger says Charlie 5 about to get a tech. That's pretty funny. Of course, it's not actually Charlie 5 because Mike White doesn't have his shirt buttoned up to the neck. Which is kind of Charlie 5's thing, isn't it? yeah, Spicy P. I think it is time, brother. I do think it is time.
The danger zone. This is your redheads, your strippers, anyone named Tiffany. This is where your car gets keyed, you get a bunny in the pot, your tires get slashed, and you wind up in jail.
Yes, it is danger zone time. The Auburn Tigers just got to get this ball inbounded to one of their good free throw shooters, which could be Chadley. It could be Denver. I think pretty much everybody on the floor at this point is a good free throw shooter. Miles Kelly would be good as well. AU Texan says UGA has a bunny in the pot. Chip gives it the nuclear reactor danger zone. Inbound to Dillon is what Hornatius is pulling for. That would be worst case scenario. And now looks like Denver's going to get an opportunity to continue shooting at the free throw line, which he likes to do. I like that dunk, that last one. He just turned around and looked at Azanul. So he's like kind of learned what CBM hasn't learned, which is you can just dunk at people and look at them. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to call them bad names in Spanish or whatever. Denver Jones with another picture-perfect free throw. I mean, every one of these is just like a complete panty shot. Chris H. said, how did the Bourbon Blend outing go? Went great. We went on Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, and we had the Dirty 2 dozen at the show. And it went great. I thought we actually had a great chatter, I guess, chat performance. We usually have good chat performance on that show, but it was exceptional the other day, largely due to, well, a lot of the people that are great here. I mean, Kanuman was hilarious. Chip was hilarious. Don Proper Dickin, Small Time, Ravin. It was great, man. Donnie K, who's not out of his element, says, can Chad set the Auburn record for text/flagrant fouls? Actually, Ferg was talking about this the other day in the press conference. You know who leads the nation in technicals? It is not Chad Baker Mazara. It is K.D. Johnson, who's now a George Mason Patriot. He leads the nation in technicals. I think he had 6. Good defensive rebound from Miles Kelly. Sorry, I've shorted Auburn. They are actually at 78 points. And could be more here with Sir Miles Kelly going to the line. Kanuman says chat was insanely great in the blend Thursday night. It sure was. Some great performances. At AU Texas, just totally forgot about the Bourbon Blend. That's all right. We'll re-rack it Thursday. Donnie, I don't even know who the next best technical person would have been for Auburn. I mean, I guess it'd be KD. I'm trying to think of other people that got technicals. I know CP got a few, like, way back in the day. And I think Kyle Davis got a few. But, yeah, I mean, he's pretty good at that. It's crazy to think Auburn's going to get 80 points out of this. I mean, Auburn had 29 points at halftime. To be fair, they had 24, so they've had a good half as well. But my goodness gracious. I'll probably just hold on stats right now because we're so close to the end. And we'll re-rack them. Let's take a look at the rim stats. Auburn Tigers are now 14 of 22 at the rim, which is 9 of 16 layups and 5 of 6 dunks. So that's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good. The Georgia Bulldogs are 9 of 17 at the rim, which is pretty good as well. 5 of 13 layups, 4 of 4 dunks. So it's interesting again that, like, you know, Auburn had a better performance at the rim, but then the opponent does as well. It seems like they're always the same. Like, if Auburn has a bad day at the rim, the other team does too. And if Auburn has a good day at the rim, the other team does too. Look at that. Auburn has 14 quad 1 wins, and the next best is 8. I'd say they're doing pretty good. We got a super chat coming through from the legend himself. Stu Pup says, what is a solid entry-level bourbon? Great question. Smart play by Miles Kelly to just bounce it out. Golly, so many good choices there, bro. Super duper entry level to me would be Evan Williams single barrel, which would be on the bottom group of your ABC store, probably on the floor, basically. I also like Maker's Mark. Just regular Maker's Mark is good for an entry level. Woodford Reserve is a good entry level bourbon. I also like Wild Turkey 101, which is inexpensive. You can find that at Costco most of the time for very, very inexpensive, and it tastes really good. And I would also say Old Forester 100, which is going to be widely available. None of those are expensive, and they're all pretty damn good. I would probably take Wild Turkey 101 in that group. Now, that should cost you about $28 a handle, something like that, maybe $30. That's a big, big one. So there you go. I would sip on that or use that as a mixer. You can do anything with that. Let's see. Chris H is a big fan of Woodford in that situation. I would not disagree with that. Excuse me. Buffalo Trace is a terrific choice if you can find it. It's been more available lately. Stu, you may be able to snag that where you're at. That's a great starter bourbon, though. I mean, no cap. All right, so 82 to 70 is how we finish. There's my man Chris C., who is the stadium announcer inside Neville Arena, former coach for my daughter's softball team. This guy's a stud. And very few people know this, but he's also a SEC football official. Can't do Auburn games, but he can do other games. Oh, my God. Melee notes that Wild Turkey 101 is $50 a handle now. That shows you how far out of I probably haven't priced that since pre-COVID, so I appreciate you telling me that. But that is still a half gallon. I mean, that should get you you should be able to go through a full day with that one or whatever. Stoop Up says, I can go a little more expensive than that. There was a brand you told me about one time, and I finished it a while back and forgot the name. Golly, I wish I knew which one it was. Cassidy P. also notes Old Forester 1910, which I think is amazing. 1920 is a little hot for me, although Miss Courtney loves that stuff. Russell's Reserve 10-year is terrific. Cost you about $55. I think that's a really good bourbon, too. I mean, Cassidy P. knows his stuff for sure. We got a lot of folks here that know their stuff. Ravin says Elijah Craig's Single Barrel. I think that's great, too. Terrence W., my man, says he's back from the gym. Another win. Way to grind it out, Auburn. Yes, sir, they did. And that was definitely a grinder. No doubt about it. We're very happy to see them figure out a way to get that straightened out, though, right? First half was really kind of weird. Second half was a little bit better. Looks like Stoop Up. It was Elijah Craig he was talking about. Elijah Craig is always a solid bourbon. One of the great things about Elijah Craig is it's good, and no matter when you buy it or where you buy it, it's the same. Like, they do a good job of it being good all the time. Some of the other bourbons, I'm looking at you, Buffalo Trace for me. Sometimes there's some variability in the bottles, but not with Elijah Craig. Let me go ahead and get these final stats up for show before we get too sidetracked talking about bourbon. You know I love bourbon. I know that may disappoint High Cotton from the bunker, who thinks I'm a drunk because I drink a little bit on the show, but I would say like 80% of the drinking that I do in a week is on the blend. On the blend or the drain. Is on air one way or another. Like, I went out for dinner last night, had one. I sit here with you guys, I drink 3. You know what I mean? Not that you guys make me drink, but I just like it. There it is, Nick A. Remember, we were kind of like, we weren't laughing at him, we were laughing with him earlier about him taking the over, and sure enough, with this fast-paced second half, he did get the over. His over hit. Somehow, some way. That's amazing for you. I'm happy for you, Nick A. I thought you had it all along. I'm just kidding. I'll give you a laugh on it. There he is, Cassidy P., the legend himself, with the super chats. He's got to bounce. Fatherly duties abound. Big win and excited for what's to come. Got to keep it up as we head into March. Much love, drainers, blenders, and the Dirty Dozen. See you next drain and blend. Let's give him an applause. We appreciate you, Cassidy P. T-Roy Tiger says, tell High Cotton we monitor your intake, Commodore. Thank you, T-Roy, for keeping a close eye on me. Because I know sometimes J-Dub is not the one to keep an eye on me, and I know you can do that, too. You've proven yourself. Time and again, Nick Ace is going to go buy a bottle of Buffalo Trace to celebrate hitting this over. That is a great job, man. That's a win if you can find it. If you can find it, I'm drinking the Peerless Single Barrel tonight. Let's go through some of these numbers. A game that was very grindy in the first half and then very free-flowing in the second half. Kind of a definitely disparate paces or tempos. Auburn finishes +5 rebounding, which I know will satisfy Cass at DP, but he will not be good with that margin. He felt like Auburn should have had more than that. Second chance opportunities end up being +3 for Auburn, 17-14. It didn't feel like that to me. It seemed like Georgia had more than that, but the numbers don't lie, right? Taking a look at the Auburn Tigers, Janai finishes with 31 points on 11 of 18 shooting, 14 boards, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 2 blocks. 36 minutes on the floor is a lot, man. Nick A says he's having no problems finding Buffalo Trace down in Panama City. And I'll say this. I've never been to Panama City, but when we go to Destin and Rosemary Beach, we have no problem finding Buffalo Trace there in the Panhandle. So I'm glad to see that it's like that over there where you're at, too. Fresh Boy, my man, is jumping in the chat, says, War, F, and Eagle. He's happy to see this one knocked down in favor of the Auburn Tigers, a 12-point win. I know Fresh Boy's fired up about that. Glad to have you here, bro. Stoop Up says, Jay, if you and AA ever come up to Chattanooga, there are some fun stores to Bourbon Shop. That sounds good. I like the sound of that a lot. We need to start taking some Tesla trips and try to find some bourbon because we need to have some unusual bourbons for the bourbon blends. Got another super chat coming through from the GOAT himself, T. Park, one of our Atlanta GOATs. Absolute legend. Thanks for playing T.Y. Pups. Thanks for being another doormat at home. And special thanks to the Commodore himself for just being himself. We'll just take it that way. Yeah. Appreciate that, bro. Ravin calls it Panama shitty. Got him. Janai had a whale of a game, particularly in the second half. He was just so good. He was so much the best player on the court, either team, that he just essentially dominated the game. And for those of you who didn't have a chance to see it, he was scoring, he was passing, he was rebounding, he was getting out in transition. Like, he did everything. And he had a run there of about 12 possessions where he was just the Incredible Hulk. He did something to get Auburn a bucket on every possession. And then on some of those defensive possessions was doing something to wreck them. So he was on a different level tonight. I'm not sure we've seen him play a half of basketball as good as what he did in the second half today. And, man, it came at a good time because even with that Herculean effort that he put together in the second half, they still win by 12, which you feel good about, but it was kind of a hard scrabble 12, right? It wasn't that they were up 20 and kind of let off the accelerator. They had to really push, and like the last 90 seconds, they had them pretty much beat. But it took some effort. It took some real effort. After that, it's kind of a mixed bag. I mean, I think Janai gets an A+, but after that, I'm not sure anybody gets an A after that. Solo Tigger says, Ward Amigo fan, been with family after a funeral. I hate to hear that. Couldn't chat much. About to drive home, but I've been listening the whole way. Not terribly impressive, but a W is a W. I'll take it. Hanging there, my man. Solo Tigre. Tim the Toolman says the large superstore deal on 153 that could be in Chattanooga is pretty decent. I did not know you were from up that way. Tim said that he's in Saudi Daisy, so we know where he's at. All right, sounds good. Former home of that great Kentucky softball pitcher from like 2 or 3 years ago, whose name I don't remember, but she was awesome. She was from Saudi Daisy. I thought, what a cool name for a place. I bet it's out in the country, and it really wasn't. I mean, it's essentially outside of Ooltewah, if I'm not mistaken on that. Tim would know better because he's there. Kanuman says, my office is in downtown Chattanooga. Granted, I'm only there for a day or two every other month. So the door hinges tend to squeak when I go in. I'm telling you, I wish I lived the life of Kanuman. I wish I got to go see all these places. I'm such a homebody. At this point in my life, like going to Troy or Dothan is a big trip for me. And then there's Kanuman going from like Taj Mahal to the Sydney Opera House. Then he's at McMurdo Station a week later. Next thing you know, he's in Argentina partying right there at the base of the big statue in Rio. Like, I'm telling you, this guy is just all over the place. I think I might have seen him on the Amazon like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It was warm. And he's just sitting there like, oh, my God. What an absolute baller that guy is. Melee says, I love that we're now a program where we can be critical of conference victory. Hell yeah. We're definitely to that place. We're Blue Bloods, man. We follow a Blue Blood program. Okra says, I appreciate you, bro. God bless you, War Eagle. Okra, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. And always for your outstanding avatar of Mad Max Crosby, who single-handedly got me through last season, even when he was injured. Because the Raiders were absolutely horrible last year. We went through a 10-game losing streak. But Mike says, why would you choose to go to Dothan? First of all, there's good folks in Dothan. Second of all, that's where Joe D's from. Third of all, it's usually on my way to somewhere else, honestly. I think the last Godfathers I ate at was in Dothan, as I recall. So that's a good thing. I think I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me, guys. Terrence W. says, Kanuman is the kind of guy that likes destination wedding invites, LOL. Everybody needs a friend like Kanuman. He said, that's the only type of wedding I might consider going to. My man. God, I just want to like ride with him for like a week. I don't think I can handle it, though. I think it would be too fast paced for me. Fat Crack jumps in with a super chat, says, screw the leg humpers. War Damn Eagle JG. Thank you, Fat Crack. Appreciate you jumping in. We love you, of course. MWD says, if I own 2 houses, one in Hell and one in Dothan, I'd sell the one in... Wow. That's tough. Ravin says, JG, when you have a chauffeur like the Kanuman, travel is easy. Are you speaking from firsthand experience? I mean, I feel like I'm left out of this party. I mean, I know like Pocket gets some... He gets to roll with the goat himself, but like I don't ever get to. Terrence goes on to say, we would love to have you at our wedding in Italy. MWD continues on with what he was saying earlier. I think it just happened it was a premature e-buttonulation. He said, if I own 2 houses, one in Dothan and one in Hell, I would sell the one in Dothan and move to Hell. That is tough. Donnie asks, do I think the Corn Dogs have it in them to pull the upset? I don't know specifically what you're talking about on that one. I don't know if they're playing or who they got or what you're talking about. I don't think so. I don't know who you're talking about specifically, but I doubt it. Kaduman says, it's been a very low-key year so far in 2025. However, welcome to join me anytime. Auburn. Next week, the restaurant trade show in the Atlanta. So that sounds like a great destination. A restaurant trade show. Like, that sounds amazing. Ravin says he would like Kanuman to come to Orange Beach for the Bunker Bourbon Bash. When is the last time we have seen Kanuman at an event? I feel like the last time I saw Kanuman was 1 year ago. 2 years ago, and outside of Bon Secours Arena in South Carolina, where he and Pocket and 2 other members of their posse saved me from certain doom and helped me get the show online because I was absolutely cooked without their generous intervention. I feel like a stranger jumps in with a super chat. Martha Washington was a hip lady. I do know the reference there. That is, I believe that's Slater speaking to Mila Jovovich in Dazed and Confused. Yes. Going to be at the Light Tower, full kegs. Everyone's invited. Check you later. Check you later. Let's see. Melee says, I'll trade you a Whataburger for a Chili's. I recently went back to Chili's for the first time since probably 2005 because my daughter had been telling me about these new deals they have. I think it's a 10. it's a $10 meal and you get like an entree and a blobbity blobbity blah 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 or whatever. So we went. It was really good. May go back one of these days. Raven says, don't be hating too bad on Dothan. That's the name of the Conestoga steakhouse. Oh, that is the home of the Conestoga Steakhouse, which I don't think I've eaten at. Oh, he adds, it's not a restaurant trade show. It's a restaurant equipment trade show. Interesting. All right, let's go through our player grades here. I know Chip likes to put them out in batches, which I kind of appreciate when we're kind of doing these. I don't know if he's still here, though. He may have some things going on. But player grades for me, Denver, 17 points of 5 of 9 shooting. So he was stuck at 7 points forever. He goes 6 of 6 to the line. I believe at least 4 of those were late in the game, so he kind of clinched the game in a way. But 17 points of 5 of 9 shooting, that's certainly not bad. 4 fouls, 1 assist, 1 turnover, 23 minutes. I'm thinking about maybe a B, something like that. Janai, A+. This is one of the best. It might be the best half he's ever played at Auburn, and that's saying something because he's had some great halves. So A+ there. Chad, kind of frustrating, honestly. Had a really good push early in the second half, and then he just kind of disappeared. Probably a C. I didn't like the technical foul. Anyway, Miles Kelly he ends up with 11 points on 3 of 9 shooting, but I didn't really notice him very much. 8 rebounds, though. And Feel Like a Stranger loves seeing Miles Kelly rebound, so he had a chance to get his full share today. 11 and 8 for Miles in 36 minutes. I think I would give him a decent grade there. Let's go ahead and give him a B, straight B. So we've got a B, an A+, a C, and a B. Dylan Cardwell, to me, 4 points, 5 boards. 1 assist, 0 turnovers, 3 blocks, 2 steals. That's a regular game for him these days. I give him a B. Tahad Pettiford, 2 points, 0-7 shooting, 2 rebounds, 5 assists and 2 turnovers. 5 assists is nice. Still give him probably a C+. 0 of 7 shooting is bad. Simo just played 7 minutes. Can't really grade him on that. Turtle, 8 minutes, 2 points. Can't really grade him on that. I thought he was decent, though. And then Chaney, relegated to 11 minutes due to foul trouble. Finishes with 4 points and 1 board. Probably a C-. That's what you're looking at. So without Janai, they might have lost this game, honestly. He was so good in the second half, and they needed him very, very badly at that point as well. So Kentucky got out to a quick start in this game at Alabama. Now Alabama's up 1 with 5 minutes to go ahead of halftime in the hangar. So this one could be a knockdown, drag-out war, as Weezer would say. Let's see. Feel Like a Stranger says Miles wasn't hitting shots, but played well, in his opinion. Defense and rebounds. Yeah, absolutely. 8 rebounds is really good. Chip goes ahead and gives us his bulk grades, which we love. Janai, A+. Dylan, B. I agree. Tahad, C. Probably a little lower than that, maybe. Miles Kelly, B-. Chaney, a D, mostly because of the foul trouble, right? And then Chad Bacon-Mazzara, B-. Stoop-Up's thinking Chaney's more like a D+. I mean, again, too many fouls. Man, Kanuman, you're just talking me into wanting to go to that, dude. I would actually like to go once. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff that would be on display there. Now, if you go and see it all the time, it's not fun. But Chip says Bon Secours in Greenville, South Carolina, is where I saw the Weezer Blue album tour in September. And even better, I think one of his daughters went with him and enjoyed it and wanted to go. It's amazing. My daughter's been to a Weezer show, but she didn't necessarily want to go. She would have preferred to go see 5 Seconds of Summer, a.k.a. 5SOS, or One Direction. Mike 7677 says, no way, Tahad's a C. 0 for 7 shooting to me is just not good enough. It's hard for me to argue much better than like a C-. there. I mean, the 5 assists is good. That's terrific. And he definitely, his speed was a factor a little bit, but he was dishing instead of finishing, you know. It's just one man's opinion. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're wrong. Just arguing my point there. Chip says both girls went with him. Big fans. My daughter doesn't hate Weezer. I don't think she loves them either. But she has been to at least one Weezer concert. She fell asleep. Of course, to be fair, they were playing Comfortably Numb, which is kind of a good sleep banger, if you know what I mean. Feel Like a Stranger jumps in with another super chat. This guy's been insane today. I appreciate you, brother. It says, Miles wasn't hitting shot but played well. D in rebounds. Before this game, Miles was 4th on the team in defensive rebounding percentage behind Broom, Cap, and Chaney. So among the non-big guys, he's the best defensive rebounder, which is good. That's a good point. And it seems like, you know, just kind of on the eye test, we do see him kind of popping up on the defensive end, grabbing some rebounds, which we definitely noticed him today. So, yeah, I don't want to understate him as a defensive element. First of all, on the ball, and second of all, as a pretty good rebounder, honestly, for a very thin guy, you know. Blake R. says, Weezer, one of my favorites. You are welcome here, my man. A lot of Weezer fans in this chat, including me. I would definitely put them in my top 10 of all time. Maybe top 5. Rush, Depeche Mode, Steel Panther. This is for me. Bruce Hornsby. Metallica. Pink Floyd, NWA / Eazy-E. Yeah, that's pretty much all of it. Chip says he got some salmon about to hit the Blackstone, also sprouts and mashed taters. Kanuman, yeah, I appreciate you that. There's a time like during the year where I really would go, honestly. But this is probably not the time of the year that I would be able to go and feel good about it. But I still, you know, Cordy asked me the other day, she's like, what does he do for a living? And because we know, like, that you move around a lot. And I was like, I don't know exactly. But maybe one of these days I'll get an opportunity to hang out with you personally and ask you about it. Find out a little bit more. It's just fun that you get to move around a lot. Now, when I say move, I just mean you get to see different places and go different places. Let's see. Chip says, Little Chip's going to Metallica this summer. That sounds great. I have not seen Metallica. The problem is that, like, if I'm going to go see a concert, Courtney's got to go with me because we're kind of inseparable. And so I don't think she wants to go see Metallica. I don't necessarily know that if I said I got to go, that she would say, I'm not going. I don't think she would do that, but I don't know, man. Like, it's just like conversely, like I wouldn't want to go to a Celine Dion concert, which I don't think she would even do now because I think she's out of the business, basically, due to health problems, but you know what I mean. I don't think she would subject me to that. I did go to Pink, though, which I honestly thought was going to be worse than it was. Pink actually was pretty good because, well, mostly because it was a clientele that I thought really spoke to me. And I felt like I had a good shot there because I was like, there's not a lot of straight guys at a Pink concert. And so you're kind of by de facto, you kind of stick out. And the girls are, you know, about my age and probably my demographic. So that was good. Although I've never seen a group of girls that I liked better than the Amy Schumer concert girls. I don't necessarily love Amy Schumer as a comedian, but I like the girls that go to those concerts. All right, here's the rest of Auburn's regular season schedule right there. You can see Ken Palm now has the Georgia game recorded, 82-70, which we saw, of course, live here on the Brain Drain and on ESPN and ESPN News. We still got the Ole Miss game midweek inside Nev. And let's say Ken Palm's got that as a 13-point victory. You know, I would have thought Auburn would beat Georgia pretty handily and then struggle some against Mississippi. Maybe we're just going to get it backwards. Maybe they're going to come out and have a tour de force against the Ole Miss Rebels. I don't know. Ole Miss played on the road today at Vanderbilt and lost. So maybe they'll. Oh, look at that. Kanuman says, I'm basically retired now, which still have a couple businesses that I'm not hands-on with. Interesting. Oh, is AA in the chat? Is she actually in here? She is. She says, I would go. Oh, I don't know that you wouldn't want to go to a Metallica concert. I know that. I just think that'd be too much. Knuman loves the MILFs, and Stu Pup apparently does as well. I definitely think you guys will be fired up at a Pink concert. Yeah, for sure. Good. It's a really good, just a good vibe in there. Like it's just a happy spot. And another great part of that was that the guy sitting in front of me was a Tennessee fan, and he was trying to watch the Tennessee-Georgia game on his phone, and he kept getting pissed off because they didn't win. Oh, look at that. Yes, I would just for you. Look at the love, man. Showing the love. Appreciate that, Cordy. What an absolute legend. Okay, so you got the Ole Miss game, and then you've got that torrential back-to-back road trips. One to Kentucky, where they haven't won since. That's right. Everybody knows the answer to that. And then Texas A&M, which is now currently on a 2-game losing streak after having lost at home today and a really tough one to Tennessee. So I still think that's going to be a tough back-to-back. A&M looks a little more wobbly than I would have thought maybe 2 weeks ago. But let's just see how they get themselves straightened out. I still think A&M's a good ball club, and I think that they're going to be a problem for Auburn down there in College Station. And the next time Auburn beats Kentucky at Kentucky, I've never seen it myself that I can recall. I would have been living in Oklahoma at the time that happened last time. Ravin says, that's how you know she loves you, JG. Yes, I definitely know. I don't even know. I mean, that's... going to the Pink concert really wasn't that bad. I just thought it was going to be bad, but it wasn't. Look at that. Knuman says, you're entirely too good to the Commodore at Courtney. What a legend. Cheers to AA. She's an amazing one, that's for sure. Stu Pup says, my wife went to a Pink concert with some of her work friends a few years ago. She had a great time. Yeah, it's a great vibe. The 100% true here. Rob says, I've always thought Pink was hot, even though she gives me vibes of lesbianism, which is true. She kind of, I don't know, it's just like the pixie haircut maybe. She's 100% straight, though. And I've been very open and vocal with my explaining to folks that I kind of like girls that are in that middle area, where you're not quite sure if they're straight or they're gay. Like, because, I don't know. People say, Jay, but Courtney's obviously straight. I'm like, I know, she is now, but she played field hockey on a team that was probably 3/4 lesbian. I mean, I wasn't sure. I was just kind of going after her because I thought she was super hot and cool, and I was just going to kind of let it play out and figure it out. If she ended up being a lesbian, then I'd just be like, whatever, but she's totally not. I didn't know any better, dude. I was like 18, 19 years old. I don't know. Let's see. P-Pass, apropos of nothing, just says Fuzzy Taco is elite. I don't know what that is, but, there is one in Auburn, isn't there? I don't think you're in Auburn, are you? That's probably just a chain that I'm not real familiar with. It's what's going on there. Let me check with the Ken Palm ratings to see where Auburn's at right now. And now that we're like, 20-something games into this season, I mean, you're starting to get a really good feel on who the really good ball clubs are. And to me, I mean, Auburn is, Auburn and Duke without a doubt. Let me go ahead and clear out this, and we'll pull up this overall look at the Ken Palm standings. But or I should say Ken Palm ratings. These are just computer numbers that spit out through an algorithm. This top 10 in general looks really good to me. I don't think Texas Tech is that good. But Duke, Auburn, Houston, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Iowa State, even though Iowa State's fallen on some hard times here, they lost again today at Houston by 10. I still think they're a really good ball club. And the team on here that worries me more than just about anybody outside of the top 5 would definitely be St. John's. These people you better keep your eyes out on St. John's and when it comes time for March Madness. Ricky P is a badass when it comes to getting the most out of his team. And he's got some players, man. And they're long and they've got height and they're a problem. And they kind of live out there on the East Coast, and they're in a league that nobody gives a shit about, and they're a problem. They're a problem. And I can't believe Missouri they've burrowed their way all the way to number 13 now. I mean, they had a great win against Alabama midweek, scored 110. But I just don't know if they're that good. And look at Tom Izzo sneaking in there at number 11. How about that? Pocket says we need Duke to lose tonight. Who are they? Are they playing anybody good? They never play anybody good. They're playing the Illinois Fighting Illini in Madison Square Garden. I knew it was a neutral site game. Keep in mind, though, Illinois has been sick lately. They've got a lot of players that are hurt. A lot of players that are sick from the flu. And Dr. Brad Underwood, who is not a doctor, he's the coach of Illinois, said it's the worst he's ever seen as far as how many players he's got sick and all that kind of stuff. So Canoeman says they're long and they're strong and they're ready to get the friction on. So let them tell her, ladies, yeah, ladies, yeah. Stoop Up disagrees with me, and he might be right to say Texas Tech is going to be hell in a Sweet 16 game. They just seem kind of grindy, ground 'em, pound 'em, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling kind of team is what they look like to me. But, Tennessee number 5, and they've got 5 league losses. Stoop Up says St. John's going to be underseeded by 1 or 2 lines and make some poor team's first weekend the drizzling shits. That is a lot of people gonna regret St. John's. But those of you here on this show aren't, because I've told you, and you guys are going to be looking. You're going to keep your eyes up. You don't have any reason to think about them right now because they're in a dog shit conference that you don't care about. But they're good, and the only reason I pay attention is because Ricky P. Me and Cordy at one time kind of idolized that guy. I mean, you kind of have to if you're a rank and file Kentucky fan, which I used to be many years ago. He was really good, and it's amazing that he's like 70 years old and he's still really good. I mean, let's see, you got Providence to the Final Four, won a natty with Kentucky, got Iona into the playoff or the tournament. He won a natty with Louisville, and now he's going to get St. John's into the tournament. Like, this is insane. And P-Pass thinks St. John's will be in the Final 8, and I do think he's going to get pretty deep in the tournament. It just really speaks to how good that guy's been, man. Yeah, Pocket Watch didn't know about Illinois being sick. I didn't know either until I saw the clip of Brad Underwood talking about it. Melee says Ricky P looks like a skeleton in internet photos. He is definitely kind of old these days, and he does look gaunt. I don't know if he's healthy or not, Melee. I don't know. He does look a little gaunt, but he's always been a very thin man, so I don't know. Maybe that's just part of it. He's also had a tough road here. I mean, that situation that happened at Louisville, his doting, loving wife dumped him. It's been kind of a tough period of time. Sure would be sweet if they put St. John's against New Mexico, right, somewhere in that tournament, so it would be father-son. You don't see that very often. And Feel Like a Stranger says Slick Rick may be one of the best ever. I mean, dude, if you get 5 teams into the NCAA tournament, like, surely that's the most, right? I felt like Eddie Sutton was the leader in the before, and then with Ricky P getting Iona in, I thought he was right there. I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to look this up. How many teams has Rick Pitino taken to the NCAA tournament? Has he already got? I guess he already got St. John's in. He's one of 8 coaches to take teams from 4 different schools, but he's at 6. I didn't realize he took Boston U to the tournament. Wow, that's amazing. Revin says, hold up is salmon code for camel. We're still talking about that. Stoop Up says, Ricky P, Crypt Keeper looking ass, still a damn good coach. This is kind of what he looked like. He does kind of look like the Crypt Keeper from Creepshow. That is true. All right, it's getting to be about that time to break for dinner. We're going to be going out tonight as well. 6 o'clock in the Central Time Zone, 7 o'clock for our friends in the Eastern Time Zone. Just as a refresher, of course, auburnsports.com is always open and popping for your Auburn needs, et cetera, and it has actually been really, really good lately. Not that it wouldn't normally be. I was just saying it's been a really good few weeks on the bunker. A lot of funny stuff going on, particularly Jay Legal trying to get some fights set up among to get some bunker grievances settled through the fists, which probably isn't going to actually happen, but I think it's a hell of an effort. So we'll have the show on Wednesday. So we'll be good to go there. That's the game against Ole Miss Rebels at home, and then we get prepared for the trip to Lexington, which is going to be something. Yes. So Wednesday here, Thursday, Bourbon Blend, if you guys are so inclined. And then we'll come back and obviously do the game from Rupp on, well, not from Rupp, but the game that's being contested in Rupp. Here, a game that's, of course, very close to my heart in the sense that I'm a UK graduate. And I have covered and watched many games inside Rupp Arena, some of them Auburn related because I've been covering Auburn a long time now. I want to see what time these games are going to be. The game against the hated Ole Miss Rebels on Wednesday is going to be a 6 o'clock tip in the Central Time Zone. And then the UK game is going to be a noon tip on Saturday on ABC. So that's your super duper national big game there. And I completely agree with that choice. That's going to be a very intriguing ball game. So I like these. I like these times. 6 o'clock again on Wednesday. Stoop Up says Wednesday is going to be a massive game. It's just a perfect situation where Auburn's got to hold serve, right? I think 15-3 gets you this league title, which is a very hard-earned title because the SEC is as strong as it's ever been. And you almost might be able to make the argument. I'd have to look at Ferg might know more about this than I would. Is this one of the toughest? The distance between the SEC and the rest of college basketball, I think, is distant right now. Is this the best number one conference we have seen in a while? And if so, if Auburn wins the regular season title, that is a real statement. I think 15-3 is going to get it, and the easiest way to get to 15-3 is to win this game against Ole Miss on Wednesday, and then you just kind of let the chips fall where they may in the road games at Kentucky and at Texas A&M, and you feel like you can come home and put put Alabama away in the regular season finale and finish this bitch off. So that would be pretty sweet. P-Pass says, is this like the Big East 85, which at that time had, Villanova won the national title. Also, Georgetown was in the Final Four that year in the Big East. Syracuse was good back then. Providence was kind of coming along back then. Interesting, man. It's going to be a fun week. Once you get through that Ole Miss game and you start talking about UK and national game on ABC, I mean, this is going to be huge. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. Like you said, they play Wednesday night. They're going to be able to practice Thursday. It's going to be kind of a slow practice. And then they're going to have to leave on Friday to get to Lexington and probably do a walkthrough at Memorial or at Rupp. I don't know which one. So that would be fun. Small Victory's pulling for an LSU win today. And Kanuman says, doesn't OSHA insist that they be worn due to the horrible condition of the barn? We have disbanded OSHA. Doge has disbanded OSHA because we don't really need that. Anyway, Russell's on his way out. Appreciate being here with us, Russell. And Mike as well. Thank you. Patrick Ewing equals boss. The man, always with an undershirt on, though. Made that very popular in the 80s. A lot of guys on my team would wear undershirts under their jerseys. All is an homage to Patrick Ewing, I believe. Of course, Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf from LSU, made that very popular in the next wave of stars about 5 years later. But anyway. I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Again, we'll see you Wednesday night here on this channel. We'll do Bourbon Blend on Thursday, and then we've got the UK game on Saturday. And, of course, we've always got stuff. And Kanuman says, woohoo, go Doge. I love saving money. I do. I just hope it goes to a really good thing like education. Could we maybe make education better? That'd be great. Not getting political, just saying I'd like to see education get a little more funding. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here with me. My super chatters, I love you guys. My regular chatters, I love you guys. We have the best chat in all of YouTube. Smart, funny, witty, and nobody calling each other names. It's the best of all worlds, in my opinion, and I love you guys for spending some time with me on these afternoons and nights. It's amazing. All right, guys, until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Appreciate you. Let's keep it going. Peace.